And a very warm welcome back to Pembroke Cricket Club Sydney Parade for the second game on this day two of the festival here in Dublin. I'm delighted to say it is a warm welcome because that's exactly what it is. It's a beautiful day here now in Dublin. Sun out, perfect day for cricket. It's the game starting at 3:45. If you're in the Dublin area, why not come down today? It's a beautiful setting here at Pembroke. And a good game on the cards with the champions, the Leinster Lightning, taking on the Northwest Warriors, and that's the dilemma now for the Warriors. Can they overtake the Northern Knights into second place for this IP trophy? They're batting first, as you can see. Having won the toss, they've decided to bat first. So, beautiful afternoon, Izzy. Looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I were chatting, weren't we, just there about why the Northwest Warriors might want to bat first. Leinster Lightning generally have done well bowling first and then chasing down whatever is put on the board. But Northwest Warriors, they've only won when they've batted first. So my theory anyway is that their bowling can stand under a little bit more stress than their batting. So they want to give their batters the freedom to see what they can put on the board, and then their bowlers are their kind of better suit out of the two, with Andy McBride, Graham Hume. David Delaney with the new ball in hand changes. Barry McCarthy misses out today. Sam Topping off the mark straight away, and Andy Balbirnie, his partner. Good opening stand from these two yesterday. They made it all the way through the power play into the ninth over was when they lost their first wicket, actually. 87 for 1 in that chase.
Yeah, they've worked pretty well in both the IP20 and now this T20 trophy, these two. Obviously a brand new partnership up top for the Warriors. Balbirnie's best scores seem to have come against the Lightning. I wonder why. Here he is today. Drives. Can't get that one through.
Yeah, David Delaney with the new ball because Barry McCarthy misses out. Reuben Wilson out as well as they bring in Matt Hollard and Josh Little. A couple of good replacements.
Yeah, not the worst. Not the worst.
Yeah, I wondered would Josh Little get the new ball. Maybe we'll see him a second over. It's David Delaney after that amazing over yesterday. He bowled the 6th over in the power play against the Munster Reds and took 3 wickets and went for no runs in that over. Bowling pretty good gas this week. That one over pitched, but Balbirnie not able to make anything out of it.
Yeah, a little bit of a highlight reel, that over. You get a chance to go back and watch it. Just those 6 balls that he bowled, cleaned up. PJ Moore with a really quick full ball. It swung a little bit. And then a couple of wickets. Got LaRue fishing outside the off, and then a fantastic catch from Wilson, let's say, with the edge off McNally, but terrific stuff from Delaney. A little bit wide with that one. And we'll get an extra run for the Warriors. Yeah, it's just to get him opening up today. Well, maybe that little bit of shape that he got yesterday. So we'll give it a crack with a new ball today.
Yeah, look, he's more out and out pace, isn't he, than Barry McCarthy. Barry McCarthy gets it to nibble about, gets the seam to stand up. He's very disciplined in his lines and lengths. Sometimes it just looks like David Delaney's too fast for himself running in. He's just hyperactive there, absolutely sprinting in. But exciting to see him at full pace. A bit of an enigma, isn't he, David
Definitely.
Delaney?
Maverick, we would sort of say, is one of those Maverick selections when you see him on the team sheet. I'm not too sure that David himself knows what we're going to get, but he's wholehearted for sure. Put it all on the line. Well fielded.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant fielding, isn't it? Because how you knew that was coming to you, is it Matt Hollard?
Yeah, I think so. Just that anticipation. Hard to anticipate the ball getting there when somebody's down on the ramp, but being able to, talk about this word continually in T20, to adapt quickly. Ball's coming my way, use your feet, get across and just get hands on it to prevent the 4.
Yeah, last week, do you remember he took the catch? Was it
Ross Adair?
Ross Adair, and
Yeah.
then like the next
Very
ball,
next
he
ball.
just missed one that was pretty much coming straight at him. And as Andy Balbirnie looks to get that one through the offside, but I had a break quite soon after that, 4 from the first over. I had a break quite soon after that, so I was sitting on a seat near him, and he kind of turned around and laughed and said, he said, "Oh, I wonder what you guys were saying about me after I made that misfield." And I said, "We gave you a bit of grace, don't worry." And he said, "It didn't deserve it. It was terrible." So
straight after, because we mentioned about Ross Adair, I felt he was a wee bit unlucky about that, because it just picked the fielder and it stuck, and then the next ball, as you say, misfield for 4. But yeah, good over from Delaney. I'm going to see who was going to open up with him. It's going to be Melvin Deverage.
So it's taken a while to recover from the game earlier today. Northern Knights against Munster Reds. If you weren't watching it, then go back and either watch it, especially the second innings, or have a look at the scorecard, because it was just what they can only be termed as an implosion by the Northern Knights. Deverage just Sam topping up.
Yeah, nicely bowled. Yeah, I think we were chatting again before this game. I think I checked the was proportionate at the power play towards the end. I think it was 2%. The Munster Reds were going to win that game, 1 in 50. Well, it was today. It was today. So
like play for another how many years against each other, and that'll never happen again. Yeah, it was 72 for 1 in the 5th, and then all out. And there's a chance, if anyone's going to get there, David Delaney is your man. Puts in the effort, not close enough to it. So survives a streaky shot there, Sam topping.
yeah, just like we've seen 8 balls, and a few have gone into the outfield, but none have gone for boundary. So you doff your cap to the captain. Then it's just got the fielders in the right positions to prevent boundaries. You could quite easily have seen 2 or 3 of those shots going for 4. They've got a few away, and it's only 5 on the board. That one though, again, I thought that was a lot squarer, but again goes out to the outfield, but always on it.
Yeah, 2 different paces, Melvin Deverage and David Delaney. Deverage bowls it into the pitch, but nowhere near as quick as David Delaney, so those fielders have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, I don't really remember that ball he bowled to Balbirnie back at Stormont. First up, cut him in 2, just nipped back a long way. Sometimes just get in your head then.
Kind of like that.
Just someone like that. That was perfect. It was topping, but I mean, just something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just one way that he can get it to move.
That's the point.
Melvin Deverage, so it is difficult to line him up.
He's done a really good backup job. Came in that opening day. Obviously, a few other players came back. McCarthy came back. Little's come in the last couple of weeks, but I think if he's been given the ball, he's done a decent job for the Lightning. It's a bit full.
A bit of a point of difference, isn't he? So
yeah.
You don't want everyone the same pace. So Melvin Deverage, I think it's a bit of a feather in the cap for him that he's remained in the squad, given the strength of the seam bowling depth within the group. And good to see Craig Young on the team sheet, if not in the team. He's making his way back from injury. I would love to have him today, the Northwest Warriors. That's a beautiful shot, though. 2 full from Melvin Deverage, and just punched from Andy Balbirnie for the first boundary for Northwest Warriors.
I've seen that shot over the years. Stands nice and tall. Just lets his hands do the work. Gets the placement. That is the first boundary. So there's been a few. Oh, today it's not the pigeons. There's the seagulls in danger.
Yeah, well, I mean, yesterday I was reporting that Cade Carmichael hit a pigeon with a return throw, but on my way home I saw a pigeon on the road. It wasn't looking too well. It was a bit worse for wear, and I thought maybe that's the pigeon from earlier, and it's a delayed
reaction.
result. David Delaney for his second.
Once again, right to the fielder for a single.
I'd say it's a little bit warmer out there now than it was for the game earlier, Munster Reds and Northern Knights.
Well, definitely. We mentioned yesterday, and we were debating the cloud cover, whether it was part of the reason that the ball moved about early on in the morning. No chance of that today. So if it swings today, then maybe that little theory is. We haven't seen much in the first sort of 2 overs here. It's been pretty straight.
Oh, that's just a little tickle. Too straight from David Delaney, maybe searching for that little bit of swing, doesn't get it, and Andy Balbirnie just needed to get the smallest touch on it for his 6-second boundary.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those today. I think was it there got off the mark as well, with one very similar down this end. Also, I think PJ Moore got one as well, so just a little touch on it, it's going to run away. No chance for the field. That's a better line right there. Just manages to keep his feet.
I always wonder what it's like to be tall, but I also wonder what it's like to be as fast as David Delaney. So it looks like his legs aren't able to go fast enough for him or something.
Yeah.
And that's why he's falling over.
Yeah, all energy, as we talked about.
Too many fast twitch muscles.
Twitch muscles, yeah. There's plenty of those in that body. Twitch muscles, all right.
There he is. He's taking the tumble that you were looking for, Addy.
It's the second one. He went down first ball as well. I've got a 5-bar gate here today.
Free hit. No, joking. It's not a rule yet. I'm just...
You're gunning for it.
I'm gunning for it. No, I think, what did that hit? You got to be careful, I guess.
Yeah, well, he was on the deck there, and that was hit straight back at him. So
I think it took his foot.
yeah. So it can be a problem. And as we talked about yesterday, it must cause an issue in his head. You know, that you're thinking, I'm going down here.
And the ramp shot comes out again. Does well to follow that. Does Sam topping all the way over the advertising ordinance there. A fine leg. Frustrating for David Delaney, but good bravery from Sam Topping. He gets the first maximum.
Yeah, somebody bowling at this pace has its advantages if you can play that shot. He followed that beautifully well. Got a good eye. Clearly must have a good eye, Sam Topping, because to follow that ball at that pace, actually get something on it. Wasn't directly in line with it. When you're usually playing the ramp, you've got your head in line with the ball. Beaten this time. So good over for the Warriors with that 6 mainly. The boundary earlier in the over. And 12 from it. 3 gone, 23 without loss.
Now we've talked about it a good bit, just how a 6 can change the complexion. I nearly said perplexion. There, the complexion of things. There's a little bit of a sedate start, but after the boundary, adding that 6, it just it doubled the score in the over just with that one shot.
Barrage will have his second.
And Matt Hollard and Josh Little waiting in the wings.
I was just looking around the field to pick them out to see if they're
Matt
going
Hollard
through their paces. He's right in front of us. I'm trying to find. Oh, there we go. He's a short third. It's Josh Little. Not too much movement at the minute. That's a great shot. That's a lovely shot from Andrew Balbirnie. Stayed nice and still at contact. Gets a good piece of it through mid-wicket. Really nice boundary.
Slightly too straight from Melvin Deverage. Huge space in mid-wicket. Whip of the wrists, and it's going to run away here all day.
Yeah, too experienced to miss out on that one. Played it really nicely.
Slip comes out. Mid wicket goes in. Does well. Kind of lost his footing there, but somehow managed to pause in the air to collect that Melvin Deverage.
Yeah, did well to just reverse his movement there, obviously pulling away from his delivery.
I'm just seeing Josh Little doing a little bit of warming up as well, so we might have overs 5 and 6 from the change seamers. Beats him. Nicely bowled. Just going too straight there. Andy Balbirnie looking to beat mid off, who's quite wide on the ring there.
Yeah, there's a bit of space between the bowler and mid off, as you say, quite wide, so it's tempting that area. What's our odds with on Gavin Hoy bowling the 7th? What do you think? Pretty nailed
good.
on.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Full toss. Just not expecting it, Andy Balbirnie. Hopefully he's just having a chuckle that he missed out and not having a go at himself and giving out.
Yeah, quite a strange one there. Full ball. You expected Balbirnie to get something on it, even if it wasn't going through the cover. Even an edge would have gone for 4. Didn't get anything on it at all. Yeah, a little bit higher than I thought. Real full toss. That's gone. That's in the slot. Right, Tector does his absolute utmost to get round from that mid-off position. That shows you how wide he is. He's able to get anywhere near that. I know he's quick, but regulation mid-off wouldn't have even bothered with that.
Well, I was going to say it when the slip came out. I think maybe a catcher in front at extra cover there might be a good shout, because Balbirnie's hit that aerially both times he's hit that shot. It's been in the air for a very long time. You might not actually get the catch if you go there, but you might get him to wait a little bit longer and then hit it to the fielder at regular cover. But anyway, 2 boundaries in that over, and it's going to be Josh Little to bowl the 5th. It'd be really interesting to see if he manages to get any swing. Doesn't look like it today.
Topping on strike.
Thick edge has somehow made it down 1 bounce to wide third or backward point. Gavin Hoey down there, I think he's worn that on the shin.
Not quite sure how he stopped it dead. It hit him and just stopped dead. Usually it would ricochet off and go for 4, but actually hit him flush. But you heard the shouts of catch straight away. Didn't quite carry.
Another short, sharp delivery from Josh Little.
Yeah, this is where we're having a look at the likes of a Sam Topping. He's had a good campaign over these 3 weeks. A little bit quiet last week, but played really well yesterday. He's up against, okay, no Barry McCarthy today, but a little bit of extra pace in this lightning attack. Oh my word, would you believe? It's catching.
Anything you can do, I can do better, says Josh Little. A little roll at the end of his tumble as well.
There's 1 or 2 won't like to see that. Don't get any injuries. Have a little look at the footing here. That one, yep, just over. Needs to be okay, but has a good look at the surface.
See, if these guys didn't bowl so fast, they wouldn't fall over.
This ball at 70, thanks. And again, just drops short of the fielder.
Oh, that looks
runs
sore.
away for 4.
Melvin Deverage doesn't look happy.
Immediately looks up to his skipper. Lorcan Tucker waves to the dressing room.
Well, Ruben Wilson, I would imagine, is 12th because there's no way Barry McCarthy's not playing and he's going to be 12th.
Yeah, I can't see Barry making his way out. Yeah, Ruben, get your top off, son. Get the bib off. Out you go. Just going to have a look at that. Just caught him on one of those ones that might just caught him on the tips of the fingers. Going at a good pace.
Well, it's one of those days where, and we don't have many of them in Ireland, but where you've no worries about whether it's going to rain or not.
No, there are not many of those about. But you're fairly safe today. Yeah, we don't get too many days where to be on the cricket pitch there. It's lovely today. Nice conditions. Ooh, I think Balburney was going offside there to play. Maybe scoop towards the pavilion, but just little angles it across. And another decent over the boundary. 38 without loss, the Northwest Warriors having opted to bat first.
Well, what a difference it makes when you take out the guy who tends to be taking wickets early. Barry McCarthy, generally the man who gets in the wickets in his first over, or if not the first, his second.
I wonder if they do look at. I'm sure they do. The analysts are doing everything these days, but just looking at that, he tends to have really targeted the stumps early on. He's got a few LBWs and bowled. This creates a different mindset for the batters, possibly.
Well, I think that comes from not being really an out-and-out swing bowler. So if you're a seam bowler, you can target the stumps a little bit more.
Matt Hollard now.
If you're a swing bowler, if you're swinging it into the left-hander, you've got to start the ball outside the stumps, and then if it doesn't swing, and then away swing bowler, you're moving the ball away from the stumps, because if you try and bowl legs to off, generally you don't get the swing. The seam position doesn't work. So seam bowler at that point of difference, there aren't too many of them around.
Lovely cover drive from Sam Topping. They always look better as a left-hander.
It's not fair, is it?
It's not fair. They always look more classical. Don't know why. Just the ball going across, and he's managed to follow that and he's hit it beautifully through the covers.
I think, Ben Callitz, if you're watching, this is what you need to add. This shot right here, through the covers, gets it straight of extra cover, and you're coming across the left-hander and they can play that shot. You have to be very careful about your length. That's even better. Just lifts it over Harry Tector. Doesn't try and overhit it, Sam Topping. Just stays in the shot for long enough and lifts it over for back-to-back boundaries.
Yeah, really, just taking a look at him there on that replay, how still he stands as the bowler's running in, just as a little trigger. He's about to release the ball, but does look to have really good balance.
I think I'd be coming round the wicket if I was Matt Hollard here, maybe coming into the left-hander, see if you can get it to leave him a little bit.
It's quite an open stance there.
And repeats the dose, but this time gets even better contact, so that's going to go all the way for 6. Matt Hollard comes into the attack and he's being dispatched all in the same area.
Yep. And just looking up at it now. Guess what he's doing right now. That's shot by shot. It seems to have just got better and better there.
50
Topping.
Run partnership for these two. Inside the power play as well. No wickets down. Comes around the wicket. Now Matt Hollard. Just trying to tuck Topping up for some room.
Does he go leg side now, Topping? No. Stays on the off. Doesn't make good contact and gone. If that hits, it's a no-brainer there. That's gone.
It's just not needed, is it? Like,
No.
what was he thinking? Christopher Freitas with such good anticipation sets himself and had a good part of the stumps to aim at there. What a pity that would have been.
Yeah, he'd been really kicking himself there, having just hit the previous 3 balls for boundaries. They're quite deep on the ring now. Certainly on the offside. That's full. And another boundary, is it? Yes. Always got to be a little bit circumspect when there's a Tector chasing it, but even the speed of Tim Tector can't get to that. 1 and over for the Warriors. 19 from it. Mostly coming from topping, but Paul Burney says, well, do you know what? Let's get in the action here. Into that cover region. Really nice from Paul Burney. Finishes off that hollered over, as I say, very expensive. And at the end of the power play, the Northwest Warriors moved on to 57 without loss. And yep, it is going to be Gavin Hoey. That was a 1-100 shot coming on in the 7th over. And joining me in the 7th over once again, delighted to have Dave Sirrett with me. Welcome, Dave. Beautiful day.
Pleasure to be on. A pleasure to be in the shade here in the commentary box.
We don't often say that. You know, we're usually trying to get away from the cold, but it's a lovely day now.
It's absolutely stunning. Stunning ground, of course. But yeah, incredible to see how these conditions have changed so radically since yesterday. It's kind of dark and moody. Bit of movement on offer for the bowlers. It's dried out. Lovely sunshine. A little bit of a breeze as well. Maybe that'll become a factor later on.
Yeah, you're right about the bowling conditions. We did see a little bit of shape and swing yesterday, the first few overs. What we did see was the leg spinner struggling a little bit yesterday. Ben White had a bit of a struggle, and Gavin Hoey didn't bowl his best, but Ben White came back today with 4 wickets earlier on for the Reds, and Hoey's got his opportunity now.
Yeah.
Good contact again from Sam Topping. Well, he's backing up his 80 yesterday. Moves on to 33.
A full-blooded sweep. Hoey into the attack. He's dispatched here in the gap. 4 runs.
That's short from Hoey. There's a little bit of protection out there now. Tim Tector on the square boundary. So we'll just go for 1.
Yeah, he seemed maybe slightly frustrated after yesterday's match. Gavin Hoey, he's bowled very well throughout the competition. This, of course, being his home ground. But it's tricky, of course. Changing grounds, changing conditions, dimensions, coming up against different batters. Adapting, of course, and looks like Ben White adapted very, very well this morning.
Yeah, he made the crucial breakthrough. Actually, in the 5th over, didn't get him. He usually would bowl the 7th for his first, but the shot there just for 1. But because conversely, actually, the start of the night's actually brought Ben White's 7th over through to his 5th. He bowled his first in the 5th, and that was the game changer. He got 2 wickets in that 5th, and that opened the door. So possibly that's what the Lightning need here now, just to get a break in this partnership to open the door a little bit, because 63 on the board. That's wide again.
Just a bit on the shorter side as well. Chatting to Ben White after his player of the match performance, he mentioned his length, just kind of getting his length right. He definitely bowled well. I thought maybe he had slowed it down a bit compared to his earlier performance, but he just mentioned that length being crucial.
Yeah, with the boundary off the second ball, quite happy to just milk the rest of the over. Take 8 runs from Hoey's first. Very solid start here from these two. 65 without loss after 7.
What a difference, though. We're usually accustomed to seeing wickets in the power play for the Lightning. It's definitely been something we've seen from the Lightning, whether it's with bat or with ball. They've been dominant, very aggressive. Of course, Barry McCarthy missing today, so not quite getting those wickets up front. Maybe not bringing the stumps into play. But it's a very different situation, bringing in your spinners, bringing in your Gavin Hoey's, your Harry Tectors. It looks like we've a bowling change. Coming in under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, looks like it is going to be Harry Tector, mixed and matched George Dockrell. But just over the last few games, it's been Harry Tector who's bowled. Did quite a lot of bowling in Brady, quite successful too.
He's got that great height, such a great asset as a part-timer. He's proved very accurate too.
Yeah, for an off-spinner, height's a definite advantage. Happy to take one again. Obviously bowling to Balbirnie, know pretty well. So Topping, probably come up against him for the first time in this tournament.
It's fascinating too to see how this partnership goes. They were incredible yesterday against the Knights.
Yeah.
Just seem to have picked up more or less where they left off.
Yeah, they've been good together, as I say, in the IP50 as well. Started that well. Single. Just mentioning that, obviously we're coming to the end of the IP20 trophy, but don't forget, we've got the women's internationals coming up against Zimbabwe, but then after that the IP50 will be back as well for these 4 teams involved in that as well. So, as I say, check out all of the social medias for all the fixtures coming up. There's that round arm one, but Balbirnie's seen that before. Just holds up.
Just cut off.
Great throw in. Delaney out there, I think. Great throw in to Tucker.
It's a really good partnership. Something I thought was very impressive was obviously Toppings. He's going to scoop it, he's going to ramp it. But obviously Balbirnie is hugely experienced in his home ground here in Pembroke. Knows all the angles, knows where to play it, probably knows it like the back of his hand. Probably knows a bit about these bowlers too.
Yeah. Down the ground, but the fielder will pick it up. Just a nice bounce, and believe it or not, almost tries to run Balbirnie out. Down it.
Why not?
Down it long on.
Yeah, we've seen some very good fielding from the Lightning. Ruben Wilson's catch yesterday, if you can catch it online.
Yeah, for sure. I always feel you kind of get what the rest of the players, how your peers think when they charge at you when you've taken a catch like that. They all ran to him immediately. A few gasps from them as well. It was just one of those ones that sort of takes your breath away a little bit.
It wasn't just them gasping.
No, it was not. Yeah. I think John McNally was a little bit gasping as well. Pretty straight, but again, it will just be one. Good fielding down there. Galfoy again, really good. So, no boundary off the over, just 6. Tidy enough stuff from Tector. But the Warriors will be still reasonably pleased. 71 off 8. Look at that sight here at Sydney Parade.
Yeah, it's a stunning sight, of course. If anyone's in the local area, Sandymount, Dublin 4, Dublin 6, definitely come on down. Cracker of a game here, and some cracking weather to boot.
Yeah, bring your sun cream though. It's pretty warm out there. Club's open. And I'll pop down. See the rest of this encounter. Oh, that's a little lucky for Topping. Well done to Melvin Deverage. He's back on the field again. Good to see him back out there. No damage to those fingers. Looking to sweep like he did in the previous over. Bottom edge, and it so often would go back onto the stumps.
Yeah, you got a lot in that. A big edge. Bouncing over.
goes Hoey, but strangled appeal.
Maybe more desperation than anything. Desperate for a wicket. Lightning.
On the outside off as Balbirnie took a large step across, trying to access that leg side. Straighter, and yeah, it just seems that's one. You just take one straight away. You know, it went straight to the fielder.
A very proficient sweeper, Andy Balbirnie. See it plenty. We'll definitely see more of that.
Yeah, that's well bowled from Hoy. It's a little bit flatter, so Topping stepping away to leg. It's a little bit quicker through the air.
Just played off the back foot.
Yeah, great work from Tector again.
Yeah.
Such speed around the boundary there. That was 2 all day long. Topping's not the slowest. Tector really quick to the ball. Those little things add up. I could have got Topping back on strike. Instead, the last ball of the over is against Balbirnie. It's a dot ball, so top over from Gavin Hoy's first went for 8. That one's just gone for 3 singles. 74 without loss off 9.
Yeah, definitely improvement there in that second over. It was fascinating to see. It's a good opening partnership, but how are the Lightning going to respond to this? Kind of haven't really been challenged. They've run away with this competition more or less. They've been so aggressive. So it's interesting to see them being tested out as they go to the title.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That's something I was actually thinking myself there, just not over. You know, sitting at 70 off 8 without any wickets down. We've usually been 2 or 3 by this stage. So they have got something else to think about now. That's backward again. This time Topping does come back. Ball's on its way. Ooh.
Good piece of running.
Last over. He said that Topping was quick. He needed to be there.
Certainly did. Could have been tighter. A lot of space there for those 2s.
You can see Morgan Tucker just sorting his angles for those 2 on the 45.
Bit shorter.
Straighter to Seamus Lynch. Just be 1. Yeah, poor old Seamus Lynch out there. I think he's been a fixture. As soon as the ball's and then the Lightning are bowling. Seamus, out you go. He's one of the 2 boundary raiders in the first 6 and then doesn't seem to move. Is that in the gap? De Freitas is round. Oh, he does well. And in fact keeps it to 1. Excellent fielding. Chris De Freitas. You see Harry Tector appreciates that. Knew that possibly could have been 2.
Lovely piece of work there. Just caught Topping on the hop a little bit. Had his weight going one way. Had to go back.
Comes over the wicket now. Harry Tector. Slingy arm there. And when he drops.
Yeah, it's gone a bit quiet. Great start, of course, by the Warriors.
Yeah, just squeezing a little bit here with the spin on. Leinster Lightning. Kind of the crux of it now comes is can the batters rise to that challenge and get a boundary when sort of the bowling's tight, the field is out. Can you still pick up boundaries and keep that run rate up above 8? just dried up recently. It's a full toss, and Topping looks to get it away, but again, man on the boundary does well to keep it down to 1. So just 7 from that, 6 from his previous, 13 from Tector's 2, and it's 81 at the midway point.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a slow down. Probably a bit of frustration on the part of Topping, not being able to get that away. But that's it. The Lightning just putting on the squeeze. Looks like we have a change. Mr. Josh Little returning into action.
Yeah, we see it quite a bit. People would sort of look at it and say, well, why? You know, Gavin Hoey's gone for 8 in his first and then gone 3 in his second, only 3 singles. Why do you change it when he bowled such a good second over? But we've seen it so many times. That third over in a row does get lined up a little bit, so that's the option taken by Lorcan Tucker. Goes back to Little. Oh, there is one there. Sam Topping, I think there's one there. Okay, Sam.
Don't worry about that.
There's not a blue shirt within 20 yards of that.
Plenty of space. Yeah, no, I like this bowling change. Admittedly, Hoey done quite well. The pressure's building. Bit of a vice-like grip, just tightening, putting a bit of pressure. The Lightning here, so bowling change could be just what gets the wicket, because they were keeping it tight. Sorry, the 2 spinners. But maybe you just need that breakthrough.
Maybe just back up that little bit of tightening up with the runs with the wicket now. See the coaching staff for the Knights just in the middle of your screen there. Andrew Boda, Pete Johnson, Andrew Pointer.
Oh, maybe a little bit of movement.
Stops. Yeah, I think so. That might be young Wilson there. I think it is.
Naming and shaming.
Short ball up in the air. Barrage is getting under it. Doesn't look comfortable. And it goes down. Difficult. We actually saw it catch earlier on, and we talked about the technique of Paul Stirling. Using those little skip steps to get back. Barrage sort of running backwards more. Didn't get side on. Just never looked comfortable. And as he hits the turf, so does the ball.
Yeah, big moment potentially. Yeah, he felt he didn't seem comfortable, but when things have been going the Lightning's way, you expect those to be taken.
Quick delivery from Little. Beats Topping. Yeah. Little's facial expressions tell you everything there. Interesting, just looking up at there's a flag here just at the side of the pavilion. Just seems to have changed direction a little bit. Was coming across the ground from right to left as we're looking at it now. Seems to be right behind Josh Little now. That's another top edge. And a little bit of frustration. My word, it's gone all the way. That's the pace of Little for you. Seemed to have gone a little bit aerial rather than flat, but it's carried all the way.
Yeah, that's it. I like this bowling change, but of course there's a bit of extra pace for the batters to work with. Things have been kept tight by the 2 spinners. Just maybe just gives an opportunity for the Warriors to open up slightly. Of course, there was that chance.
Yeah, I thought that had gone to the boundary for 4, which would have taken him to 49, but it seems to have gone all the way. Topping goes to his half century. And that'll be another boundary. And really, he's toying with Josh Little now as the full teapot comes out from the fast bowler. Not getting anything really where it's meant to be going at the minute, Topping, but when you're in form, the luck's with you. He moves to 55.
Yeah, Little just being tested here. A little bit of heat. Maybe slightly. Yeah, that'll annoy.
50 came from Just 34 deliveries for Topping, backing up his 83 yesterday. So banging form. But again, Little, has he got a nick on that? He has. And Joyce Little, well, he might have been frustrated those couple of shots that went to the boundary. He gets his revenge in the over. Little feather from Sam Topping, who's disappointed having just gone to his half century. He goes caught Tucker, bowled by Josh Little for 55.
He gets his man in the end. There was that chance earlier in the over that Devraj couldn't take. Of course, also that nick which went away to the boundary. But just gets that feather behind. Well taken by the skipper. It's exactly what they needed.
You know, wonder a little bit of a send-off there from Joyce Little, just waving Sam Topping back to the tent. I think that nothing too personal there. I think it was just the last couple of nicks had frustrated him a little bit.
Yeah, you suspect if he didn't get that wicket, could have really boiled over maybe. That frustration that Little was feeling.
Yep, match referee Josh. Yeah.
And here we go, we have another bowling change. You mentioned, Ali, that the two spinners being used kind of almost interchangeably.
Yep.
Harry Tector and George Dockrell. They give you those options, being able to spin it away from the left-hander, spin it away from the right-hander.
I think that's the call, isn't it? As soon as the left-hander has been dismissed there off that last ball, you can nearly hear Norton Tucker saying, Harry, thank you. Bring in George Dockrell now. I was just about to say our graphic there has Ryan Macbeth in at 3. I think somebody's been had a hefty lunch. Ryan Macbeth coming in at 3.
It is very hot as well, Ali.
It's Jake Egan. A wee bit of fever there. There's Jake Egan, who has been in decent form as well. We've talked about it earlier, how he wasn't maybe picking up the boundaries yesterday, but he ran exceptionally well, turned ones into twos regularly. Straight stuff from Dockrell, just with a new man.
Yeah, there was that earlier partnership between Bob Burney and Topping yesterday in that chase against the Knights, but then as soon as Bob Burney was dismissed, Egan played his part, the 50 partnership or thereabouts, with that good running. Just taking that single there.
Yeah, just a little bit of energy from Egan. It was yesterday. I said we have his stats on how many twos he picked up, but he put a lot of pressure on the Knights.
Still fascinating to see the Lightning in this position. Only the one wicket.
A bit of a quicker one there from Dockrell. Pick out that man, Harry Tector, yet again.
Yeah, interesting decision to bat first from Andy McBride. What do you make of that decision?
Well, Isabel had a bit of a theory. There's going to be Egan's first boundary. Tim Tector won't get round to that. That's a Jake Egan shot off the back foot. Likes to play from the back of his crease. Doesn't really get forward. Good hands. They keep it in front of square. Tector's on point boundary. They'll take one here. So if they get a boundary and an over, they'll be happy with that. They take 8 from it, and that brings up the 100. After 12 overs, the Warriors 101 for 1. Yeah, Isabel had a bit of a theory that, well, first of all, the stats back it up a little bit, that they've won their games when they bat first. So 3 games that they've won, they batted first and regularly win that sort of side of it out. But her point was basically, you think that they under pressure, they trust their bowling a little bit more. So in the second half of an innings, if they're chasing, the pressure comes on. The batting can sometimes sort of feel that pressure a bit more than the bowler. So if they're chasing, she sort of intimated she feels that the bowling unit itself can handle the pressure a little bit more. But obviously we're just guessing.
It's definitely tricky. Get through, just, yeah, it'll be tidied up there. Got past Lurkin Tucker. Yeah, it's tricky. In Breedy, we had that fixture between the Lightning and the Warriors. The Lightning posting quite a big score, and then the Warriors under the pump, really trying to chase it down.
Yeah, I sort of remember that game, and I actually think, looking back on it, that was almost a perfect T20 performance from the Lightning. Good score, batted well, right throughout, and then squeezed, took wickets, squeezed. Just really, it was a proper T20 performance right the way through. Not often you get that. Sometimes, you know, the batting excels and wins you a game on its own, or the bowling vice versa. That to me was just the performance of the tournament, really, you know, in terms of putting both sides of the fielding, throwing the fielding was pretty sensational as well. So to me, that was an all-round performance, and I don't think, sometimes you can feel that you've let the other team win the game and you've lost it, but I don't think that, to be honest with you, the Warriors could do a great deal on that day.
There we go. That was big.
It's a sensational shot. Sensational shot from Balbirnie. He'll take that one. Fast bowler, just a little bit short, but Balbirnie showing his capabilities on the pull shot. Oh yeah, really got hold of that, and George Dockrell just watches it go over his head.
Not too much you could do.
There's your comeback from Little, cross. Balbirnie with a little bit of shape. Moving away. Look at the change of field here. Yep, David Delaney goes back. There you can see him in the background. He goes back to fine leg, and Deverage comes up into mid-on. That would suggest mid-on, mid-off up. Not going to see anything particularly full here from Little. Cut in the air. Man down in the boundary. Doesn't complete the fielding, does stop the boundary, but goes for two.
Good piece of fielding in the end. But they've just been such a strong fielding side, the Lightning. Everything's been superb. Of course, it's hard to maintain that level of performance throughout the competition, as it just draws to the end. The second day of this final festival in Pembroke.
Just dabbed down. Just defended there by Balbirnie. Decent over. A couple of dots in it, but the big six that he hit over mid-wicket makes it a decent over again for the Warriors. 110 for one after 13 overs. Thanks to Dave Serra, who was on with me there, but last 7 overs, a welcome back. I'd say sadly, Isabel, because I'm sure you were enjoying yourself out in the sun there. It is beautiful here.
It's a bit warm actually, and walking along the wall, people were asking, was it too hot here in the tent? I was saying, no, we actually have a bit of respite here, but it's starting to heat up. I think if the sun moves around, we'll have to put the sun cream on again.
There's that back foot shot again from Egan. Just tucked up this time, but no width, like in the last over.
Well, I was over at the clubhouse when Josh Little got that wicket of Sam Topping, and just seems to be a little bit of niggle out there, which I know you'll enjoy, Ali.
Love it. Yep, absolutely love it. There's a little bit earlier on as well. Yeah, he seemed a little bit frustrated. I think granted, look, a couple of edges went, top edge went for 6, and then regulation 1 through slip. And then he gets his wicket, so, you know, nothing wrong with a bit of tap.
No, we were wondering, weren't we, if there was a bit of niggle between Matthew Humphreys and the Munster Reds earlier. I'll have an update on that. Real drag down, and it could be a wicket. Krista Freitas watches it sail over the boundary, just about got enough on the end of his bat. Josh Egan, Jake Egan, excuse me, mixing up Josh Wilson and Jake Egan.
Yeah, we talk about shots, that's Egan's shot. He is on the back foot naturally, as we've talked about. Comes forward a little bit there, but again, doesn't get the same contact. He's one of the better players off the back foot. We've watched him hit from a standing position a long way.
Yeah, you know when you're bowling to him, you have to try and get him to come forward. But yeah, Matthew Humphreys, actually what was happening was we didn't spot it when he tried to flip that one to 45 in the game earlier. And apologies for anyone who wasn't watching and doesn't know, but he was trying to hit it to 45. 14 gone, 120 for one, and he actually hit it into his own helmet.
Oh, okay.
And in club cricket, that's a dead ball immediately.
Yep.
In this competition, it's not. So he was questioning that, and they were saying, no, look, we actually tell the captains before each game, so that meant that he was on his way. That's why he paused. Slightly expensive and probably unjustly so. 1 wicket for him, 28 from 3. He's bowled better than that. Hollard given real tap. So they've turned to the part-timers of Harry Tector and George Dockrell to try and fill his overs. Gavin Hoey has 2 left as well, but I think it's going to be him. He looks a little bit different, shorter hair today. Went and got a
little bit of a
haircut yesterday.
Yep, got a little bit of a haircut indeed. A little bit of a buzz. Second over just went for 3 singles. In now to bowl his third. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes here against Egan, as we've talked about quite a lot. Want to get him forward, but that small margin, you don't want to be too full.
Well, it is too full. Straight as well. Nice swing of the bat. Gets it straight down the ground. Little punch, 1 bounce, 4.
Yeah, as I say, don't want to get too full, and that was exactly that. Just means that Egan can sort of stay in his position. Doesn't really come forward, as you would see a lot of batters, but that was full enough for him able to just play straight down the ground, and the positioning was really good, nice and straight over the bowler's head.
And has to go short. Oh, that was nearly out. That was so close. Gavin Hoey getting something on that, and cannons past the stump. Andrew Balburney was already on his way.
Yeah, we missed his 50. Sorry, Andrew. We missed his 50, his first one of the competition. 50 off 40 deliveries.
Top edge is usually such an adept sweeper. That's not where he meant that to go, but he'll be pleased with the outcome. 4 runs, and quickly becoming a pretty expensive over from Gavin Hoey.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that didn't go to hand and away, because we'd missed his 50 and I didn't really want him to get out straight away. Goes to 54 now. So he's done well against the Lightning in this tournament. Goes on the reverse. Oh! Chance there.
Matt Hollard, I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe the timing of
Just
the jump
the timing
cut there.
of the jump, yeah,
Could
that's
he
what I
have gone
thought.
with 2 hands?
Yep. We can catch up with this. Yeah, it goes to 1 hand. It was quite high.
A very tough chance. I don't think I've seen that from Andy
Just
Balburney
about to
before.
say the very words. I'm not sure I've seen a reverse sweep too often. 3 boundaries in this over. I'll finish it with a single. No, 15 from that over. Good one for the Warriors. 15 gone. good platform for them. 135 for 1.
He's worked the ball around nicely, Andrew Balbirnie. Plenty of 1s and 2s. But as we're so used to seeing, good through the covers, those early boundaries generally through there. There's usually a gap good enough. And then the sweep shot we just saw down past fine leg. The 6 into the leg side as you'd expect, and then a couple through point as well. So really playing all around the ground.
Yep, the 6 off Josh Little to the leg side. And as you say, those fairly well-known cover drives that he hits in the opening overs. So he's on to 59. Egan playing a nice little role here. 20 off 11. 9 runs and over at the minute, so that'll take them to 180. So 9 wickets in the hutch. This is the platform that the Warriors are. This is their game plan that they've looked at in the start of the tournament. To have plenty of wickets in hand going into the last 3 or 4 where you can go.
Yeah, and they do have players who can go at the end as well. David Delaney back into the attack. He opened from the other end, so he switched end, and actually yesterday he bowled that over from this end, so I'm a little bit surprised to see him, but maybe because Barry McCarthy out of the team, he took the end with the ridge. But I think this is a good matchup, not so much for Balbirnie, but for Egan. If David Delaney can bowl a couple of those full Yorkers to Egan, who's generally looking to get on the back foot, might be able to sneak one through. That is disdainful. You never want that as a fast bowler. Flat batted back past David Delaney. Disdainfully from the in-touch Andrew Balbirnie.
Yeah, not worried about the pace. Seen it before. Andrew Balbirnie, and that is quite a disdainful shot indeed. It's forced a change in plan. Probably thinking before that, I'll keep my mid on up because he's not going to come down and whack me down there. Well, that's exactly what he did. And now 1 on the leg side, and it's gone many a mile as well. Just rolling it back here is Andrew Balbirnie. Moves to 69.
Changes the plan because that last shot goes in at Andrew Balbirnie, who was waiting for the angry delivery from David Delaney. Just wait on the back foot and heaves it over the leg side. It's a ground he knows all too well, Andrew Balbirnie.
It's not just forced a change in plan, it's forced a skipper go down to his bowler and have a word. I always feel that feels a little bit like teacher and pupil when the keeper goes all the way down. And
one of the problems with having your keeper be the captain, because it's just so
long
pointed. Yeah, good from David Delaney. Good change. Full wide outside off. Much harder for Andrew Balbirnie to find a gap for a boundary there. He's just having a look at the wide line.
Oh dear. I love these little game plays. Just go out and this is the line here, you know.
What's going on with the fielder in the deep? Subfielder back on. You don't usually get that mid-over.
Not really.
Ruben Wilson making his way off.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that Andrew Balbirnie's too chuffed for this.
No, look, he's trying to make sure he knows who the actual fielders on the pitch are. No bib in sight there. Full and wide again, looking to get it between mid-off and extra cover. So good change this from David Delaney. Goes the Yorker.
There you go.
Yeah, that's who we wanted to bowl the rest of the over to, but couldn't get Andrew Balbirnie off strike until the 5th delivery. So 11 runs in that over. Good comeback in the second half after going for 10. And with 4 overs to go, Northwest Warriors 146 for 1, well set.
Yeah, it is a good platform here with 4 overs to go. As we say, this is their... It seems a fairly obvious thing to say. This is the way they want to go, but particularly the Northwest Warriors. They want to set up the last 4 overs with wickets in hand. As I say, right the way through the tournament, they've been coming into these 4 overs with 7, 8 down and having to just eke out a few runs towards the end. Not today. Got plenty of scope here. 146 for 1. Big finish here. Can they go big in these last 4 overs?
Well, Matt Holler back into the attack, and obviously it was Sam Topping who whacked him around the place in his first over. 19 from that solitary over in the power play. Field spread now, and Sam Topping no longer in, so they turn back to him. Languid from Andrew Balbirnie. Dismissive again. Just waits long enough to punch it past extra cover. And Harry Tector in the deep. We rarely see that. He gave up on it straight away, just jogs to go get the ball. So second over starts poorly as well.
Yep. Again, pretty dismissive from Balbirnie. Stands nice and still. Hits that well in front of square again. The offside field now pretty sparse. In fact, the whole field seems pretty sparse out there. Not many. That's gone as well. 6 more. Is it just made it? Yes, it has. Just made it. Bring it 150 up, and that'll take it to 156 now. Balbirnie going big time here now. 4 and 6 again.
Yeah, well, the field set means he has to bowl short, so Balbirnie sets himself and backs himself as well to clear the ropes. Doesn't matter where the fielders are, he says. Going to send it all the way for 6. Another plan change as Lorcan Tucker comes down and talks to Matt Hollard, and he's currently got... Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this before. It's a point, a deep backward point, and then just cover on the boundary. No one in between. That's going to find the fielder in the deep. Can you believe it? Matt Hollard. I don't think that's where you meant to get the catch, but Gavin Hoey placed absolutely perfectly. I don't think you had to move. Easy catch in the end. 4-6 out, but Andy Balbirnie's done some serious damage. His first 50, and he went big as well. 80 from 50 deliveries, and I don't think he's too tired because he hasn't done a huge amount of running. It's been mainly boundaries for the Northwest Warriors opener.
Yeah, just picked the man out there. You nailed it there. You could say the plan was to bowl wide and full. But yeah, Balbirnie will be just a little bit annoyed about that he picked out Hoey. He was eyeing up 100. He's going for 80. 10 fours in that. It's a lot of boundaries, as you say. 3 sixes, so 58 runs coming. He was 1 short of his high score. That's what I was looking up, just checking his high score, so I've probably put the markers on him there.
Yeah, we'll blame you. I'm going to go and tell him later that it's your fault. He got out. He only needed 20 more to get the century, and he had time to do it.
1 short of his high score, which was against the Warriors this time last year on this ground. He scored 81. Goes for 80 today, but like, he can't be too annoyed. Really good innings, and as I say, he's been prolific against in terms of this year, but against the Lightning. Done well against them. Playing in green, of course, this year rather than blue. So here's your promotion. I don't know whether you witnessed it earlier, but Ryan Macbeth had come up on the screen as coming in at 3.
Oh, right.
Which
okay.
I don't think was, but
no.
This one is correct. Cameron Millie in at 4.
Field goes back to normal. Extra cover in.
Yeah, it was a bit of a funky field, as you say, but worked out, got the wicket.
Yeah,
maybe not perfect, but that's where it went.
They go back to that field that as it was for Jake Egan, or Josh Egan as I like to call him.
That's his new nickname.
Yeah. I think this is a no ball. Is there 3 ends? Too many outside the ring. Someone's not come in.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's the fielder who's supposed to come in?
Yep. Who's getting it in the air? Who's coming in? Who's going to feel the wrath of the captain here?
I think it might be George Dockrell, is it? At square leg, he was in last over. You have to change the field, guys. Fine leg comes in. It's Josh Little who was cotton napping down there. So free hit, not what
I'm going to say
Matt
this now.
Hollard needs.
From day one, after day one, that's about the first bit of unthinking cricket, if that's a better expression, that the Lightning have had.
Yeah, no Barry McCarthy on the field, and that's the kind of thing he would pick up on. Beautifully ridden that bounce there. Jake Egan knew exactly where he wanted to go. Got the short delivery. Has to bowl it short outside off with the field set the way it is, but free hit.
Yep. Short and wide, but rides the bounce there. As you say, knowing that he can hit it in the air with no consequence. Gets to the boundary. So, yep, 4-6 and another boundary coming up here off the free hit to be added to that.
He's been really impressive, Matt Hollard, up until today, but not gone his way today against the Northwest Warriors. Better. Yes,
Yeah.
he can't bowl too full and get hit to mid-off, but a hard length there from Matt Hollard. Maybe a slightly fuller hard length than you're used to in Ireland. So a fruitful over in that he got the wicket, but expensive. He's 1 for 36 from just 2 overs. Matt Hollard, you'd imagine he might not be seen again. Lots of bowlers to choose from. Two left for Devaraj, 1 for Delaney. Little will bowl his last, you'd have to think.
And then one more after that. So yeah, it's going to be probably between Devaraj and Hollard, you would think.
I think if you're Devaraj and you don't get one of those overs, you're wondering what you've done on the captain, because Matt Hollard has not been great today. Jake Egan to face David Delaney. Full and outside off, quick single. Yeah, they decide not to throw, good thinking.
Now then, Cameron Melly, this is your moment. This is your tournament right here. Coming in down the order, not had a great deal of batting behind him. So sent in with just 2 wickets down, 3 overs to go. Can you give us a little cameo here?
Backs away, good execution from David Delaney, right up at the stumps, tail back as well.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Quick. Even if he gets a little under edge on that, it goes for 4. You've executed well. Gets the bonus of getting it through. Top balls, really key at this stage.
Flays that away, there's a fielder out there. Oh, that's scooted around for Josh Little, had to take evasive action and move to his left. There's a lot of side spin on it.
Second ball, second bounce spin there.
Yeah.
Bounces the second one, it goes.
I'm amazed we didn't hear someone shout spin.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what it was, right off the
It's like
slice.
fielding off a leg spinner, wasn't it?
Just a slice there.
Another full ball outside off that Cameron Melly can't get away. I know they got back for 2 there, but maybe it would have been better off having Jake Egan on strike. That being said, this is exactly why Cameron Melly's in the team. It's to bat at this point in the game.
Yep, 3 overs to go. The start of this over. Get him on strike. Just feeling the pressure now because if you've been given this specific role, you only got 3 off 4. That'll be a wide. Just challenging that line a little bit too much this time. Delaney.
Yeah, and I'm interested now to see what he does, because the plan is to bowl at that wide line. He hasn't quite executed there, but does he move away from it because he doesn't want to keep bowling wides, or does he trust himself? Yeah, sticks to the plan. Josh Little finds it easier this time.
Yep, that one's along the floor, so no spin when it reaches. But that's the plan. It's worked pretty well. Just that one delivery too wide, but I think this time of the innings, if you bowl one outside of the wide line and aren't going for any boundaries, you'll take it. Extra ball though.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, Jake Egan on strike. He's been going pretty well. 26 from 16 deliveries. He manages to find the gap. It's going to be a long chase for Tim Tector, but again, just the difference. The man that's in, a slight miss from David Delaney, a little bit, didn't quite get it full enough, and his spell finishes with a boundary. 36 from his 4.
It's an extra little bit of balance there from Egan. Just kept those 2 feet nice and steady, as opposed to Millie was kind of clearing the front leg a little bit. Yeah, probably being in for a while is going to help there. Face Delaney.
We're wondering about the bowling changes, and the helmet comes out for Lorcan Tucker, so it's looking like it's going to be spin. Alvin Deverage, 0 for 15 from 2. He's got the best, well, second best economy rate. Harry Tector has the best, so might be him that we're going to see.
Yeah, big call this. It'll be Dockrell, I think. Yep, glasses come off. He's bowled the 19th before in the tournament and been successful, but
slightly different situation.
Not with 2 down. There was 9 down at that stage, I think.
Yeah, he took a wicket, didn't he? It's not tight in this competition for first place, but it is tight for second, and if the Northwest Warriors can win this one, depending on whether they get a bonus point or not, they go either 3 or 4 points ahead of the Northern Knights after they made a hames of a chase earlier today. So it's actually the race for second that we're interested in here, and those 2 teams played each other yesterday, so it's not going to be a straight shootout. It's about how well they can do against the other teams in the competition.
Cameron Millie maybe happier facing the spinner, so I'm not 100% sure. Quality bowler Dockrell, but just in this particular situation, Millie's struggled against Seam all tournament. I think he'll be happier.
I think they're trying to get the better matchup for the set batter, which is Jake Egan. Fired in from George Dockrell. Good idea, but not the right line. And the other tournament that's very tight, the World Cup qualifier. Italy beating Scotland today, which is, as an Irish, any Irish supporters out there will be delighted to see. There's such a tight competition between Ireland and Scotland.
Missed out there.
George, nice and full outside off.
Yeah, and obviously
Kevin O'Brien is assistant coach.
Links with Italy.
Who's head coach there now?
Oh, now you're asking.
Because they've changed it up, haven't they? Smeared and found the gap. It's 1 bounce, I think, before the rope, but it will be another 4. I think the decision for George Dockrell to bowl instead of Harry Tector, maybe not the right one. Harry Tector round the wicket, changing his pace across the stumps might have been a better option.
Yeah, just with Millie struggling a little bit, I get the point that you want to bowl sort of a plan to the set batter and try and prevent him from hitting 4s, but I just think Millie's preferred option would be to go against spin. The way he's playing at the minute, sweeps
Cover and deep backward point out in the boundary now. So I think Lorcan Tucker's told George Dockrell bowl your quicker ball, in which case probably should have just stuck with the seamer as it was.
Well, I think he's going to go offside as well here. Try and keep him away from playing that leg side shot.
Yeah, the option's straight down the ground, isn't it?
There it is. Plan works. And then that brings Egan on strike now, so set batter, so kind of giving a better option for the sort of weaker batsman in the minute, so to speak. 2 balls to come for Egan.
Oh dear.
Being wide, and they'll get the single as well. So, yeah. Couple of boundaries, couple of wides.
He's that get out of the over stage. He has been since that first ball already.
Yeah. Target straight again. Full.
Flayed away.
Definitely not been working out here for George Dockrell. The skipper. 4 more to Melly.
They knew the line that George Dockrell was going to try and bowl. Set himself. Gets the full toss as well. He's not going to miss out there. Good strength as well to bring the bottom hand through and make sure it goes forward of that fielder in the deep. Just had to beat David Delaney in extra cover. Did that with ease. And the wide line moves with the batsman. So a dot to close out. And it'll be 0 for 34 from George Dockrell from his 3 overs. And Northwest Warriors, for them, they'll be eyeing up 200. Just need 12 in the final over. It's going to be Josh Little. No surprise there, he's got the best economy rate across the team, but you really feel the loss of just one bowler. They've got so many in their ranks, but no Barry McCarthy today. I was talking to Stephen McCarthy, asking, where's Barry? And he said, I didn't know he wasn't going to play. So good from Barry, not letting the
Well, I sort of talked about it because like he's played every game since the first day. So, 10 days cricket or 9 days cricket in a row. This would have been the 10th. So I wasn't surprised, let's say, not on the basis of his performances, but just to give him a little day off. I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow. He'll be keen to play tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back looking to play the final game and kind of the day that they get the trophy, the Leinster Lightning.
Yep, just into the leg side from Egan. Melly's done well here. 3 from 4 he was. He's caught up. His strike rate 17 off 11, so he'll be feeling a little bit better. But he'd love to just add another couple of boundaries here this last over.
Third and fine up in the ring, so I'm interested to see, does Josh Little test out the upper half of Cameron Melly, or is he maybe worried about edges going for 4? Mid off in the ring as well. There goes the ramp. It was a good option. It was the right ball, but he was a little bit out of the road. Cameron Melly.
Yeah, I think he was at the wide line when he tried to play that. Was the right option though.
If you're going to do it, you've got to be brave. Stay in line. Can't be running off to point. Well, you can. You just can't expect to make contact.
Manages to get a bye though, so at least adds to the total, but just 2 from the first 2. And then you get to 200.
This is just top class bowling from Josh Little. He knows exactly what he wants to bowl to the 2 different batters. Jake Egan, he doesn't want to give any kind of short length to. It's right up to him.
Yeah, he's going to keep Devaraj at fine leg, just move him a little bit to his left. So probably taking out the ramp shot from Melly. Goes sideways and tennis shots it into the offside. Not going to get back for 2 there. So just 4 singles in a way. 2 extras, 2 singles. Off the first 4, 2 boundaries needed now for the Warriors to get to that magic 200 figure.
Yeah, it would just be a little victory for the Leinster Lightning, wouldn't it, if they managed to keep Northwest Warriors under 200. That was one for the over, so there's that knowledge for both these batters that you can't go for a bouncer again. Josh Little, he's used that up. Too quick, and just a good hard length from Josh Little. Too quick at that length. If that was any of the other bowlers, I think that would have sailed for 6, but just that extra little bit of zip from Josh Little.
Yep. Got to get this in his legs too. Last over. Last ball.
2 full. He used up the bouncer. They knew he could sweat on the front foot there.
Yeah, good finish.
Jake Egan.
From Jake Egan. Goes all the way. Just sat on that one. His ruins up to that was an excellent over from Little. Just in the slot. Seen Egan. You know it's full. He's hanging back. Gets plenty of it, but gets it away. So excellent innings from the Northwest Warriors. This will be the biggest total the Leinster Lightning will have to chase. So new territory for them in this tournament. Bit of a challenge for them. 198 for 2.
Yeah, I wonder how the batting lineup will do under the stress of having to chase down 199 for victory. If they do lose it, it'll only be the second loss for them in the competition so far.
There's your Warriors card, and yeah, an excellent card it is. We've commented right throughout the tournament about number of wickets falling, but not today for the Warriors. Excellent open partnership again from Topping and Balbirnie. Topping went to Little for 55. Balbirnie continued, eventually caught on the boundary for 80, and then Egan continued his way for 37. He's been in good form. Cameron Millie with a nice little cameo in the last 3 overs, 18 off 13.
Yeah, great partnerships. 93 for the first as Topping and Balbirnie laid the platform. Egan came in and continued on his merry way after Topping went. Balbirnie might have considered himself a little bit unlucky to pick out the fielder, but when he went, Melly came in and a handy little knock of 18 as he kept pace with Jake Egan at the end.
Your Lightning bowling card, 7 used today, mixed and matched all the way, but we're missing McCarthy today at the top of the order. They couldn't get wickets earlier on. Delaney bowled sharp, but was wicketless for 36. Deverage none for 15. Little got the breakthrough, 1 for 36 from him, just that last ball there. Hollard was expensive. Oh, he didn't really threaten today in the Intector and Dockrell. It was that 19th over from Dockrell that really ruined his figures.
So we'll see if the Leinster Lightning can keep their winning ways up in just about 10 minutes' time as they look to chase down 199. It's a tall task for the champions. Yeah, so make sure you stay with us for the chase.
And a welcome back to Sydney Parade Pembroke Cricket Club in Sandymount for final innings of day 2 of this IP20 festival here in Dublin. We set for a really cracking finish in what has turned out to be a beautiful day here in Dublin, perfect for cricket. As I mentioned, the end of the working day coming up now at 5:30, so if you are in the area, I think we're got set for a really good game today. 198 on the board for the Northwest Warriors. Just the 2 wickets fell. Andy Balburney top scoring with 80. So that set up a terrific chase, as we've mentioned earlier on. Not something that the Lightning have had to chase so far in this tournament. It's the biggest total they will have to chase down. They've been pretty successful so far, so let's have a look at it, how they go now. So once again, Isabel Joyce, what's your thoughts on it? 198 on the board.
I think if you're under both, you're in one way pleased that your batters have to chase down something like this. 199 for victory is going to be tough no matter who you are. Northwest Warriors would feel that in general their bowling is actually their strength, so that's the positive. They have Graham Hume, they've got Andy McBride, and yeah, I think they'll fancy their chances to go ahead of the Northern Knights here.
Graham Hume to start things off. It's going to go backward immediately. Mohamed Melli in business in his usual spot on the boundary.
Well, I mean, if you tuned in a little bit earlier and if you were wondering why we weren't back, I think the umpires gave a little bit more time because of the heat.
Sorry, write this down. Anybody out there in Ireland, write this down. They've given them more time because of the heat.
Because of the heat, exactly. So, yes, it's lovely weather to watch cricket. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, actually, to do too much running out there. Beautiful comeback from Graham Hume, just a little bit wide on that first delivery, straightens up ever so slightly. And I mean, maybe they gave extra time because of the heat so that people could reapply sun cream, because that's what we were doing.
Yeah, very much so.
The sun's starting to make its way around and we're in danger of being right in a sun trap here in our black tent. It could get a little bit uncomfortable, so we'll keep you updated on that. I know everyone at home on tenterhooks to find out.
Yeah, never mind the cricket, how are you getting on?
Yeah. So there are a few people sizzling away over on that wall in Pembroke. Nice shape from Graham Hume, so Tim Tector just checks that shot. First man to go past 300 runs in the Interpro T20 trophy competition in the history since its re-inception. 2013, the first year, wasn't it? So it's been going for a while now. Lots of talk, Ali, about how to reignite the Interpros. Have you felt, aside from Leinster Lightning kind of running away with this, have you felt this format with the 4 festivals has maybe done that for you?
Yeah, for sure. Anybody that sort of speaks to me about it, I'm one of that rare species that actually really thinks the Interpros has got a place here. You know, there's a lot of negativity about it. I really like the Interpro setup, but even more so now because of the way that this tournament has been set up. Whoever came up with it, definitely the vibe out there is that it's been a success. We're into day 11 of it, 1 day left tomorrow, but just the vibe of the whole tournament. It would be perfect for me if it was leading into a series for the international team, and that you can see a pathway for selection.
Yeah, kind of like the 1 day stuff before the West Indies series. That's a beautiful drive from Chris de Freitas through the offside, just eases it between extra cover and mid-off. The elegance of the left-handed opener continues to be shown as he gets his opening boundary.
Yeah, once again we mentioned it with Sam Topping in the Warriors innings, just that left-hander. Beautiful shot from de Freitas. Caresses it through the covers, doesn't move. He gets off the mark, first ball.
And I think the thing I love about it, and obviously you and I have seen pretty much every ball that's been bowled and hit in the competition, you get to really compare and contrast different batters and see them growing. First over gone, it's 8 without loss, but I just find myself comparing different batters that maybe are the next step down. Next step down from the internationals, and see who might be the next one coming in? What are their attributes? You know, what are their different strengths that maybe would be looked at by the men a couple of tenths down, the coaching staff and the selectors? And for me, Krista Freitas, if you compare Krista Freitas, Sam Topping, Ben Callets, 3 left-handers, and we've seen them all today. We've seen them all be good today, and maybe just for Ben Callets, it's that shot we just saw there, and I commented on it earlier when Sam Topping was in. It's that shot through extra cover that he needs to add, because compared to the other two, he's probably physically the strongest. He's the one that can bludgeon you boundaries, so maybe he's more of a T20 batter, but he has that real weakness through the straight offside. Bit of shape in straight away.
Yeah, Ram Macbeth, who'll open the bowling with Hume. Different type of bowler. Look for swing. Haven't seen much on offer today, so it's got to be pretty tight here. Yeah, look, I totally agree with you in terms of comparisons and looking at players. Not just for us, obviously we're involved in this particular gig here, doing a little bit of comedy for it, but just for the general public to watch a tournament from start to finish and actually start to get to know some of the players, what their attributes are.
Yeah, and maybe you start, being up for a particular team, whether that be, you're up for the champions, you go for whoever's winning, so Leinster Lightning, or do you like the kind of underdog Munster Reds? Because I had someone messaging me saying, come on, the Munster Reds, when Ben White got those 2 wickets in the 5th over earlier. So that's another thing that's good about the format, that you can get into it and you can start going for a team, whether it be geographical or just you like a certain player or the personality of a team.
Yeah, just that. As in a certain player, you might just sort of like the way he plays or the way he bowls or his aggression or non-aggression, whatever it may be. You get to follow that little player. And that happens in tournaments throughout the world. The IPL, for example, you just get a player. I used to watch De Villiers because I played with a guy, and RCB was my team then just because he played there. It's not any. So little things like that can just invigorate it, and over time that might get a little bit of buy-in. People come to the games then to see the players they've watched on the stream. So yeah, long-winded answer. I think it's worked. I think it's definitely worked.
Yeah, it would be great if it was going into a series, but you can't have everything. If you get everything, then you expect everything all the time, Alex. We've got to keep you.
Got to keep us
keep
hanging.
you looking for something, Blasted down the ground. Tim Tector in such good form at the moment. Straight back over the bowler's head, a little bit slow off the pitch, maybe sat up for the right-hander, and a lovely looking boundary to him.
This is my worry here a little bit with Macbeth with no swing. He kind of depends on a little bit of movement from the hand, and if it's not there, Tim Tector's in such good nick, he can line you up a little bit.
Oh, has that found the fielder? No, that could have been so lucky. Just flies past Graham Hume, a dance down, drops short, and just help it on its way for Tim Tector. Back-to-back boundaries.
Yeah. As you say, he looks in it, goes wide of the fielder. We've seen a few getting picked out there. Pearl Rossadair, as we mentioned before, would be thinking, well, every time I hit it down there, it goes straight to a fielder. Tector, though, back-to-back 4s.
Better.
Yep.
From Ryan Macbeth, gets out of the over, but goes for those 2 boundaries after 2 Leinster Lightning 17 without loss. And that run rate required already up past 10, and well, you normally say it's a long time to go at 10s, but with this Leinster Lightning lineup, they'll feel it's something they can do. But then enter Andy McBride at some stage. He'll be trying to go for as few runs as possible and help push that required run rate up. I hope they're keeping the fluids on board there at the clubhouse, because it's very hot here and we're down the other end, which is generally not as warm.
Yeah, a little bit of a sun trap over there. Hume the ball over number 3. Belly in the deep. Gets round, does well. Can't prevent the 2 though. Always going to be 2 out to that boundary. Lots of estate to cover for Cameron Melly.
He just backed away, didn't he? Christopher Graham Hume good enough to follow him, but his balance good enough. Christopher just to follow it round and send it for 2. And the leading edge, that's going to shoot over mid-wicket's head. Should be just another couple. Update from our co-commentator, Dave Sira. I'm sure we'll hear from in a little while, but he says that the break between the innings wasn't because of the heat. Can you think of another reason?
Yeah.
He set me up for another quiz for quiz time with Danny McCalmont and Isabel Joyce.
I've been pretty poor at it recently.
I kind of give you quiz questions out of nowhere with no context, to be fair.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Elegant. Elegance personified from Chris de Freitas, the left-hander. Puts all his weight in the front foot and take a photo, because that's how you play that shot. Graham Hume just has to turn back and walk back to his mark, have a quick think about that, because there's not much he could have done better.
Yeah, not really. It's not over-pitched. I think we've seen a lot of balls over-pitched where you can come straight down the ground, but it's played on the up. It's just that, again, for kids, just watching that bat come straight back and straight through. Really nice, and again, doesn't overhit, just makes sure he gets good contact. 8 runs now on the first 3.
He just pulls his length back ever so slightly there, Graham Hume. So, what's the answer? It's been confirmed by the match referee.
All right, okay.
Is the real reason.
What is the answer here?
The answer is because they bowled their overs in time. So that must, from that we must
deduce the other way around
deduce
then.
that every single other game they've been over time, and the first innings they've had to claw back that time by having only 10 minutes between
so
the
it
overs.
is a 15-minute break then, probably.
When you think about, no, it's 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
That's a little bit of a hack. Just gets the bottom hand through, punches it through mid-wicket. Graham Hume just looking a little bit sedate on this surface. Maybe a bit of the pace coming out of it. Another boundary from Chris de Freitas.
Yeah, not as elegant on this one. Stands still though. Again, good balance. Not overhitting again. Knows that if he gets good contact, there's a little bit leg side with that one, but same result in the end. A couple of boundaries with a couple of 2s. So yeah, that could have been 20 minutes trying to guess that one, because
I never would have come up with that.
Really don't think it would have been every sort of innings would have been over initially.
Well, that's a great piece of fielding, and the cover's absolutely brilliant. Who's that? Jake
I
Egan?
think it's Egan.
He's a real athlete. Save 3.
Yeah,
And saves a
seems a
going
big
for
over.
another- yeah, 30 without loss.
So all of a sudden now, if that had gone to the boundary, it would have been a real big over from him. Wasn't the worst over I've ever seen, but just maybe licking a wee bit of zip, as you say. And it does maybe necessitate that change. Said Ram Macbeth might get lined up early on. Andy McBride has just decided that maybe let's go to plan B. He's going to come on in the 4th over.
It wasn't that expensive in that over.
No.
It only went for 9, but it did have the feeling of ominous.
Yeah, the next one
Yeah,
might go.
an ominous feeling for the next over. So maybe just breaking up the spell. Andy McBride, we might see Macbeth for the 6th over. I'll be thinking about who can bowl the 5th, but right now it's going to be Andy McBride. I don't think we'll see Hume again in the power play. Could be wrong, but David O'Sullivan, get yourself warm, I would think. Lots of room given
Gives
to
himself
himself.
an enormous amount of room there.
I'm always amazed by Chris de Freitas' first delivery against the spinner. He always does something first delivery. It's like really proactive, straight away. Dances down this time. Protection in the deep.
That's one of his boundary riders. Yeah, I think this will sound a really obvious statement. This is the same in every T20, but just for the Lightning, I think the Warriors need to break this partnership as early as they can, because that's been their basis.
Yeah.
They've been setting up really well, leaving Tector, Tucker, etc., just to come in with a decent platform. They have very rarely been, 5 for 1, something like that. So even now with 30 on the board, if they can get the breakthrough.
They've very often had a 50-run partnership for the first wicket.
Yeah.
I think it's, with the pitches haven't been so good as well, that the fields that have been set, something that's been quite clear is that if you can't get a boundary, the Leinster Lightning are probably the best in the power play at getting it into those pockets where you can come back for 2. And has he got it? Hit it so poorly it didn't actually make it to. Is that Cameron Melly? Well,
it is.
I think that's the first time I've seen him in the ring at the start of a game.
Take a picture.
I'll clip off the legs. Quite couple of balls that will please Andy McBride.
Yeah, he's away again now. Surely he's not going into the boundary from there. Going into the covers again. Cover to cover.
Well, if you were picking a T20 team after this,
yeah, he's gone. He's been sent out to the boundary.
Yeah, there you go. He's gone to the boundary. But if you were picking a T20 team after these 4 festivals, Andy McBride's name's got to be in there, doesn't it? As he gets blasted for a boundary in the power play, but out of the spinners, he's been the most effective. One more wicket, and he goes first to 50.
I think he's been the most economical in runs per over. In terms of spinners, and looking at spinners that have bowled regularly, I think he's been the most economical, and he's taken wickets. So I just think what he brings to the team as well. I know sort of people say you got to move on and sort of look to the next, but he's keeping, but he's performing, and sometimes when a guy's performing, you look at the other guy in the team, Andrew Balburney, sort of subject to don't need you at T20 level, and he's still performing.
He's done well against the best attack, albeit without Barry McCarthy in it, but the best attack in the competition. It's David O'Sullivan to bowl the 5th, replaces Graham Hume. You have to wait for an absolute age for that to get to him. Tim Tector, Cameron Melly, back in his usual position, keeps it to 2.
Yeah, just going back on that a little bit, I know they're ridiculously biased, but I spoke to a couple of guys up in the Northwest a few weeks back, and one of their first comments to me was, I'd pick Andy McBride in every team that I play in.
No, I'm sure they would, and part of that is to do with his aura, isn't it?
Yeah,
you go through all the attributes, and auras is probably Andy McBride every time. And that's a good connection. That's going to be 6 over cover, if you don't mind. That's an incredible shot from Tim Tector. He's closing in on.
What a shot!
A milestone here. I won't spoil that, but we're keeping an eye, aren't we?
We are. It's like they say, most batters would just go on the back foot and just hit that along the ground, possibly, but no thought whatsoever. He knows he can hit it for 6, and that's the biggest sort of area we're talking about on this ground. Square. That has flown. There's a little net, batting net, which I'm sure you've seen. That's carried that up towards the railway line.
Yeah, Amanda and Craig doing some fielding work in the deep there.
Yeah, let's give them a little bit of a plug. Craig, obviously the voice of Pembroke Cricket Club.
Craig Senior.
Just back from Australia, I think. Good to see them here. It's a home ground fixture here, almost as much as the players. Pretty much every game. That's an unbelievable shot from Tector there. Just say from that base, just able to hit it flat over the square boundary at cover. Pressure on O'Sullivan now.
This plants the front foot and then carves it away to the offside, toying with Cameron Melly in the deep. They might look to come back for a 3rd. No, does well enough, Cameron Melly.
He's huffing and puffing out there. Poor old Cameron Melly. He's gone a long way. He was in covers and he got sent out to the boundary from there, and now he's had 2 2s in this over. the field and the ball that was hit up to the railway line.
Today's probably the day you don't want to be 12th or 13th, isn't it? Lots
Yeah.
of running drinks that has to go on.
Guess what? He's in action again. A little bit more comfortable for him now. If he has to come back in for the left-hander, they're going to keep him out there.
Keeping pace with each other, the two batters, 24 and 25 from, what is it, 14 and 14 each. They face exactly the same number of balls. You don't usually get that.
Yeah, but 1 run shy of yet another 50-run opening partnership, these two.
And that will be the 50 up, and it'll be 4 more as well, because he's hit that well enough to get in front of point on the boundary and waited long enough to get it past cover. So Northwest Warriors, they will have felt 198 is a good total, but at the moment Leinster Lightning making it look easy in this chase.
Yep, that's a muscle from Tector, a little bit more classical from De Freitas. But both finding the boundary now. That 50-run partnership coming off just 29 deliveries again. 1 ball to come in the 5th.
Cameron Melly, don't go to sleep just because it's Chris De Freitas on strike.
He's
Keeps
done
it
well.
to 1, but it's been an expensive over. 16 from it. 1 to go in the power play. 54 without loss.
Yeah, 25 to Tector, 29 to De Freitas, and already the run rate required a flipped from the first couple of overs. On target now in the Lightning, but as I say, sometimes we sort of look at the power play as a game in itself. The fact that they've got 198 on the board does mean they can claw it back quite quickly. They can just take a wicket and then have a couple of quiet overs.
Yep.
The difference would be if you've only got 140 on the board, then even if you do have a couple of quiet overs, they're still well within the parameters.
Yeah, if they can keep that run rate required up around 10 and then have 1 or 2 good overs after the power play. This is a bit of a chip from Chris De Freitas. He's not bothering to run though. He knows he's got it well enough as Ryan Macbeth comes back into the attack and immediately sent for 6.
Yeah, as I look at his bat, De Freitas didn't sound the best, but the ball travelled a long way. It's in that hitting arc and yeah, didn't really move knowing he's got enough on it. It's the side screen.
There's a stage when you're bowling in these situations where you kind of think, well, I can't do any better than that. And it kind of had that feeling, but Macbeth adjusts well with the length there.
Yeah, just that little bit, such a small margin. If you're too full, you're going to go straight. If you pull it back too far, even a couple of feet, you can sort of go over to the mid-wicket area, or if you're given width. So it is a small margin. Not the express pace, as I say, without the swing. Macbeth.
That wasn't far away, just a little bit too full for that shot from Chris De Freitas. He was expecting the short ball after the first full one went for 6 down the ground. Maybe just an effort ball there from Ryan Macbeth.
Have we got any shape on it? Yeah, not really. It's gone right over the top of middle. Great take from Topping as well. A little bit unsighted, maybe. Changing the field. So that'll tell you. We'll try and go across Chris De Freitas now because sent out a man just in front of the tents. Strange position. Oh, it's tell a lie.
It's 3 out in the boundary.
3 out in the boundary now.
Oh, that's the...
It's the subfielder,
The
yeah.
subfielder,
He's going
so-
off. Hadn't put his bib on again. Just goes too full again. There's Ryan Macbeth and De Freitas. Does it again, straight down the ground. Such a small margin, as I say. It's not particularly full, but you can trust the bounce here. Plays through the line.
I think he's recognised that maybe the pull shot not on because he's not going to bowl short enough for it, Ryan Macbeth. Better option to look to hit it down the ground. Oh, there's the short ball now, and it's going to be deposited for 6. Over the wall. And Leinster Lightning, they aren't perturbed by this total set by the Northwest Warriors of 198. They're going to have a great platform after this power play. Still a delivery in it.
Yeah, he'd be a bowler. Yeah, he tried to go short again there with the other two balls going straight down the ground and just a little bit too short. And Christopher Freitas hits that well over mid wicket.
How they'd love to have Craig Young in this team. And that's elegance. Even with a swatted pull shot, he still manages to make it look elegant and an expensive over on the comeback for Ryan Macbeth. 6-4, 6-4, 20 in it, and the power play over. Christopher Freitas hitting all 20 of those runs himself. Looked like a forehand in Wimbledon there. 74 at the end of the power play, and Christopher Freitas just one away from his half century after that over. 49 from 22. Tim Texter watching at the other end, 25 from 14. Ali McCalmont needs to go and have a drinks break himself, and delighted to welcome back Dave Sira.
Great to be on. Wimbledon fever here in Pembroke with that shot from Christopher Freitas.
Yeah, I wonder if he looks like he's probably a good tennis player.
I would imagine he's very
Yeah.
good. I'm not taking him on. No, an incredible partnership. Obviously, Tim Texter's been probably generally the one to watch. Of course, we've had a few innings from Christopher Freitas in this competition, but he's kind of been the sleeping partner. Sleeping partner maybe throughout. He mentioned yesterday, I just chatted to him after the game, the first game of the competition, all the work he'd done on his T20 game.
Is Tim Texter or Christopher Freitas?
Christopher Freitas.
Christopher Freitas, yeah. I mean, it's noticeable to see he's still got that elegance and that we know is part of his game, but he does tend to look for the attacking option straight away, especially against spin. Scott Macbeth is the new spinner in.
Also interesting to see McBride into the attack earlier and not having that impact we generally associate with him, with that aura or whatever you'd associate with him.
Yeah,
generally,
that's what we were saying, aura.
But generally has that impact, whatever it is. It's just the man you call upon.
This helped around the corner, a bit of luck going the way of Scott Macbeth.
It's not to forget
50 up, yeah, 50 up for Christopher Freitas. It's been going quick time, just 23 deliveries, 7 fours, 2 sixes, and it's been so good to watch. And look at that strike rate, 217.
Extremely healthy strike rate there from the left-hander. Just played down for a single.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like Tim Texter maybe recognising today. Looks like Christopher Freitas those days. So you can kind of take a back seat a little bit. You don't need both batters going all guns blazing.
Well fielded.
Scott Macbeth, a real competitor. He kind of feels a little bit like, doesn't look anything like Andy McBride, but a similar type of player.
Similar mould.
Real competitor, never feels out of the game. And just a shift to the leg side from Christopher Freitas there. Scott Macbeth looking to follow him, but goes too far.
Yeah, you mentioned two openers, maybe not necessarily both going hard at it. We had two openers earlier going hard at it. Ross Adair and Paul Sterling got out to the perfect start, and then 2 or 3 wickets setting them back in that chase against Munster Reds.
I'm just trying to get out of the over here. Scott Macbeth, just 3 singles at the start.
Yeah, crucial delivery here, always is.
Yeah, the wide. How much is that first wide going to cost him? It's going to cost him 8. 2 wides and the 6 from the extra ball. So what started out as a really good over just finishes on a bit of a dampener for Scott Macbeth. One's gone many a mile from Christopher Freitas, and after 7, Leinster Lightning well set, 85 without loss.
Up and away there from De Freitas, just a little skip underneath it. Doesn't hit it too hard. And it's gone the distance.
Well, I was saying yesterday that he kind of didn't tend to waste too much energy. He generally got it just over the boundary rope for 6, but today's been a bit different.
Nope, going all for it. And hell for leather there. Gave it a good belt. McBride back into the attack.
Oh, just gets himself into a tangle there. Good line, good length, good pace from Andy McBride.
Yeah, always has such a good sense of when, what to bowl, where to bowl it.
Well, a couple of years ago, it felt like maybe T20 was gone from his repertoire, but he's bowled really well in this series, right across the 4 festivals and against all the teams. So maybe he's just quietly putting his hat back in the ring for T20 inclusion.
Just quietly building a body of work, just to say, yep, it's still there. So much experience though.
Yeah, and obviously left-handed batter adds that to the team. That's not got that at all. Krista Freitas, catcher in the deep, comes underneath it. Scott Macbeth, as it so often is, takes a catch, a pretty easy one, and Krista Freitas just goes one too many, and that is 50 wickets. First to 50 wickets in the Interpro T20 competition since its inception, from the beginning of the new competition as it is now. Andy McBride gets the milestone 50, overtook Craig Young in the last game. He's on 48, but what a lovely moment for Andy McBride. Gets the man who's been doing most of the damage as well. Krista Freitas goes for 56.
Well done, reaching that milestone. To the Warriors captain, but what a moment as well. Just getting that wicket exactly when his team needed it. They needed something. Didn't make that impact in his first over. Coming back into the attack and does just that.
Seamus Lynch in at number 3. He comes in with the run rate required 9.4. He hasn't had much of a go, Seamus Lynch. He's kind of been watching from the sidelines because he generally comes in at number 6, but been elevated. 1 not out in the 1 bat that he had last week, so he's gone all the way to Breedy to get 1 run. It's a long journey for that, isn't it?
It's a long journey.
Done a lot of fielding on the boundary, but not a lot of batting. So good to see him getting the opportunity. Elevated. It's usually Harry Tactor coming out at number 3.
Yeah, you'd love to see this Leinster Lightning batting lineup tested a bit. Perhaps this is the game for it, but they're swimming along here despite that wicket.
Just about tucks that off the pad. Andy McBride thought he had 2 and 2.
Hands in the head. Yeah, he's definitely in it here. If you could get rid of Tim Tector, how crucial would that be?
It's still a pretty long batting lineup for Leinster Lightning, but it's a long time to go at that rate. Just gives himself a little bit of room. I'm always amazed. You'll often have one bowler who stands out, and it's everyone else going round the houses. And McBride just 1 for 11 from almost 2 overs.
How often do we see that?
That's short.
Just
Not
chipped.
expecting it. Seamus Lynch, I don't think they'll come back for a second, so gets out of the overs for just 4. Takes the big wicket as well. 8 gone. Leinster Lightning 89 for 1.
Yeah, big over there from McBride in the context of the game. Delivering for his team. And of course reaching that milestone.
Yeah, 50 wickets. It's a great stat to hold. First to 50. And yeah, I think that they knew that out there. It looked like an extra bit of congratulations from his teammates. As we could see a turnaround like we saw earlier. Leg spinner coming on. Robbie Miller back into the team. And we saw Ben White do the job earlier. Gavin Hoey not so much, but Robbie Miller maybe, I think, suited to this pitch because he tends to bowl a little bit more slowly through the air. We've seen that maybe be a bit more successful here in Pembroke.
Yeah, I watched him on one of the side wickets, just warming up earlier before they went out. He's definitely a bit slower and was getting a bit of purchase, bit of rip. It's our first time seeing him in Pembroke, this T20 festival.
He can't afford to go short because it does sit up a little bit. It's probably just slightly too short, but it's on a misfield in the deep. Not what's required. Andy Balbyrne, no, it's Jake Egan, in fact, I think, in the deep
Jake
there.
Egan in the deep.
Doesn't even go and get the ball. He's furious with himself. One of the best fielders in the competition, and just took his eye off the ball.
Yeah, maybe just facing the sun. Yeah, be furious with himself after that.
Not too much sun on the ground, is there?
No.
Yeesh.
Tough going.
Well, all the bowlers need their fielders to back them up, but you feel like leg spinners even more than most, because they do tend to bowl a poor delivery every now and then. Good footwork from Lynch. Always has such a good sound off the bat when he's playing.
Yeah, he just pings it. But yeah, interesting to see at that slower pace what sort of purchase maybe Miller will get. Hasn't been too much on offer.
No, and it's just about length for him. He can't afford to get too full. Tim Tector very good from standing down the ground, and great footwork onto the back foot as well. And from standing, he just lifts it over extra cover. A shot of real class from the Leinster Lightning opener. Gave himself a little bit of room. Head position so good.
Yeah, brilliant shot there from the right-hander. Lovely hands we've seen throughout the competition. Just getting it through the ball, up and over, guiding it at that gap.
Yeah, making a great angle because of that back foot just moving towards the leg side. His front foot stayed in position. And a little bit of touch now. Cheeky stuff from Tim Tector, and good effort in the deep. I think it's Graham Hume down there.
Graham Hume in the shade, just
Back-to-back fours.
I think it just bobbled away slightly, maybe just a bad bounce, but a good effort nonetheless. Lovely leg cut there against the leg spinner. He gets to it, he gets down, and it just bounces over his hand at the very end, the last minute.
On with the left hand. Always perplexes me. They've got two hands. Why run inside that and then make things more difficult? Just the single there as Robbie Miller. 3 boundaries in the over. I have to say, a little bit unlucky to go for 14 there. It probably should have been just 11, but that misfield adding 3. And 9 overs gone. Leinster Lightning 103 for 1.
Yeah, it's a tough over. You really need things going your way against this Lightning lineup. You need little moments like that in the field going your way, because you'll get those exceptional moments from the likes of Tector playing it up and over.
Andy McBride continuing. 1 for 12 in his 2. He'd dearly love to get Tector out. And he's gone past 1,000 runs, Tim Tector. And another milestone in the game. 1,000 runs in the IP20 trophy. He's gone past 300 runs just in this edition. And he really is head and shoulders above the last 2 or 3 years. No foot movement there, but brilliant hands from Tim Tector. It's audacious stuff. The quicker delivery from Andy McBride. He catches up with it, whips the wrists through, and making it look so easy.
Yeah, it was a good piece of bowling from McBride. Doesn't really seem to matter. He's just past the milestone, but looking in such good touch. Yeah, no foot movement required there. All along the surface, along the turf.
Better length from Andy McBride, just over pitching that previous one. So it just feels like Northwest Warriors obviously need a wicket, but it's hard to see where it's going to come from. More hoping for a mistake from the Leinster Lightning than anything. And there's the mistake. Seamus Lynch looking to heave that over the leg side, picked the wrong delivery. He sent in maybe as a bit of a pinch hit hitter. It hasn't come off. 7 from 5 for the number 3 batsman, elevated today, and yeah, just looking to try and get his Interpro tournament underway. Kind of 1 boundary in that innings. 110 for 2 Leinster Lightning.
Yeah, Seamus Lynch hasn't quite got going in the competition, or maybe hasn't quite had the opportunity. Down the order, elevated today. McBride would have wanted to get rid of Tector, but he's done the next best thing. Just chipping away at the other end. Gets it through Lynch. The Lightning, of course, have been so dominant, of course, throughout. They've been in trying situations before. Partnerships in Stormont comes to mind. Partnerships between Harry Tector and Lorcan Tucker. Just kind of weathering pressure, so they're capable of that. It'll just be interesting to see if there's a couple more wickets.
Yeah, just stress testing this batting lineup and seeing can they chase at over 8.5 for this length of time. Only 2 wickets down, so you'd feel comfortable after that start if you're a Leinster Lightning fan. Harry Tector joining Tim out in the middle, one further down than usual. It's on the back foot and smashes it back at Andy McBride. He doesn't hesitate to stop that.
And just the one remaining now in the over. If he can get out of this, be very good from the Warriors captain. Getting that wicket when required.
Floated and had to wait forever for that. Harry Tector somehow hasn't managed to get it, and good enough contact to get it past extra cover. 110 for 2 halfway through the chase. Just another 89 required in the last 10. I say just 89. You obviously have to go at like 1.5 a ball, but the way they've been hitting it and how quick the outfield is, how difficult it is to bowl on this pitch, they'll feel quietly confident.
Yeah, De Freitas mentioned after the game yesterday that he felt the side could chase down pretty much anything over 200. They just feel very confident, and they do have that strength going down the order.
Lorcan Tucker, he's in position there, ready to come out.
He's ready to go.
Yeah, if you were one of the Tectors now, you're wondering, hey, sit down, have a bit more faith. I feel like the sun is following me here. I'm gonna have to swap with Ali when he comes back in.
The captain just says, "I'm ready, just in case."
Yeah.
Obviously has full faith in the 2 Tectors.
Itching to get out there. David O'Sullivan replaces Scott Macbeth. Nicely up in the block hole, but so brilliantly done from Tim Tector. That's so painful if you're the bowler. You feel like you've done exactly what you wanted to do, and it still goes for 4.
Yeah, a great piece of bowling. Just leaves you wondering what you got to... It's a batter's game anyway.
Yeah, what have you got to do?
What have you got to do? But very well played by Tim Tector, just guiding it. Down to third, down to the boundary. Everything coming off for the opener.
He spent so much time out in the middle, it feels like he knows exactly where every bowler is bowling. .50 for Tim Tector. He's been in such a rich vein of form, and they say you get out of form quickly enough, make hay while the sun shines. He's certainly doing that in the Interprovincial T20 trophy this year. For his man past 300, he's past 1,000 in the competition across his career in it, and now he adds another 50.
Yeah, fantastic performance from Tim Tector. Reaching the milestone, of course, passing 52. We've had this shorter competition, 4 weeks, 4 festivals. There's been a different performance rate in reaching form with bat and ball, but Tim's just really gone on with that.
That's forward of the man in the deep, and there'll be lots more work to do for Cameron Melly. He's been tested out there. Just a punch into the offside, Harry Tector, adding to the tally his brother's already got to.
Yeah, Cameron Melly with a bit of work to do with the black trainers.
Yeah, a statement from him. The black, I'm hoping they're spikes, but they do look like runners, don't they? Good length.
Oh,
good running
fancy
from
that.
Tim Tector. Just about plonks the bat down. I think next time maybe think about sliding the bat in. Scott Macbeth, I think it was, hit direct, but Tim Tector kind of cantering there. He was pretty comfortable.
Incredible feat there. Macbeth threw it in, hit the stump. Maybe wasn't sure if it was going to be given out. Saw the ball was possibly trickling away to the boundary and ran off to chase it. I think he didn't quite have to chase it, but he was ready for it. Good game awareness.
Now getting extra fitness in.
This heat.
Extra shuttle. He's preparing for going somewhere hot next winter. A little punch into the leg side. Goals for pushing it, but Harry Tector takes a tumble, so just be one. I don't think it would have been a second anyway.
One of the Tectors there on the ground.
One of the Tectors.
Just sliding there, just getting very low with that turn, so it's good technique.
Apart from the slide.
Apart from the fall. These two very quick between the wickets. You would have expected them to make it without the
I
fall.
don't think they would have. I think Andy Balburney did really well. He was charging in off the boundaries, made 80 earlier, and he's keen to win the game on the back of it. Harry Tector won't take on Balburney. A rare occasion when they won't take a fielder on. So pretty good over that from O'Sullivan. A bit unlucky to go for that boundary first ball, and after 11, 119 for 2, the Lightning.
Yeah, lovely piece of skill. That earlier boundary just definitely played down to the third man boundary. Bowler can count themselves unlucky, but when a batter's in form like Tim Tector, you got your work cut out.
Yeah, Andy McBride to hold one back. Scott Macbeth will replace him at the Willfield Road end. If you're not familiar with the ends here, it's the end where the clubhouse is, where no doubt there are a few people who don't have enough sun cream on.
Few sunburns this evening.
Floated and doesn't manage to beat the fielder in extra cover.
Yeah, it's been good pieces of fielding from the Warriors. Admittedly, also some misfields and some brain fades maybe.
There's a brilliant diving stop by Jake Egan in the circle, and then he was the one who made that mistake on the boundary, so he's kind of swings and roundabouts that one into the pitch a little bit more.
But they haven't dropped the heads though, the Warriors. You reckon they still believe?
No, well, it's a high enough total, isn't it, that you know you're always in the game pretty much. 79 from 52 is no easy task.
Just use those hands.
And this is a good period in the game to have a quiet over if you're Northwest Warriors. Just try and push that run rate required up. And he's looking to get things going. Harry Tector can't get underneath that one.
Yeah, I like that McBride's just left himself one, because he so often seems to take a wicket when coming into the attack, so maybe just giving himself a difficult over at the end. If you'd back him in a lot of situations, he obviously backs himself.
Good shot that from Tim Tector. Can't bowl there to the man in form. Out backward a square around the wicket from Scott Macbeth.
Yeah, a bit of work to do there in the deep. Couldn't quite reach it. Into the gap. Yeah, there really was no chasing that.
Frustrating. Just didn't quite finish off the action. Coming around the wicket, needs to try and get across to off stump. Just too easy for Tim Tector to catch up with that and send it for 4. And cloths that one. Looking to go forward of Melly in the deep. It'll just be 1.
Some more good work from Melly.
9 from that over. So keeping up with the rate of boundary in the over, and then singles will do it for the Leinster Lightning. 12 gone, 128 for 2.
Yeah, you just love a wicket if you were the Warriors.
You probably need 2, don't you? At least 2, maybe 3, because there's Lorcan Tucker, George Dockrell to come in, and then if you get those 2 out, you feel like maybe you're a chance, although David Delaney in good form at the moment as well. Wickets means someone has to get in. So no matter who it is that's coming in, they have to take a bit of time to get in. It generally hasn't been easy to get going straight away here. You can catch up, but if they keep taking wickets, Robbie Miller into the attack and goes straight away, goes for 6.
That's gone. It's gone our direction.
Yeah, that sounded very close, didn't it? I was waiting for it to appear below our intent, but no, just about misses us.
Yeah.
Good commitment to the shot.
Lovely hands as always. Gets up and under. Just stands and watches it.
Good hands again, but the length important there, so you couldn't get underneath it. Tim Tector.
Yeah, Brian would love it if his leg spinner here could just get him a wicket. Get him the crucial wicket of Tim Tector, maybe.
And Harry Tector just looking to copy his brother, but the length was better there. Couldn't get underneath it. Practice is more of a kind of a slog sweep this time.
Maybe a little bit of anything you can do, I can do better, but Tim's just in such good form.
Oh, there you go. Heave leg side and catch taken. And he didn't like it when he made contact. It's a good catch in the deep. Jake Egan, I think, taking a good diving catch, moving forward. As soon as he hit it, Harry Tector knew he was in trouble.
What a catch. Incredible catch in the deep, coming forward, diving forward. Quite nonchalant at the end.
He judged it well. What you don't want is to get too close. You have to give yourself exactly the right distance so that you can dive forward. If you get too close, you're taking it around your shins.
Yeah, good piece of bowling as well from Miller. Couldn't get enough of that.
Pushes the hands out so it won't pop. Well, you said Andy McBride would want his leg spinner to make the breakthrough. He's done just that. Harry Tector goes for 5 from 9. No boundaries in that. So he really didn't quite get going, Harry Tector. And now there's another new man out, Lorcan Tucker. And if they can continue to take wickets regularly, even with Tim Tector still out there, 65 from 35, it's a long way to go to 199 for Leinster Lightning, 64 required from 44. So it just wasn't really required for Harry Tector to look for the boundary there. The 6 had been hit on the first ball.
Yeah, he could have quietly gone about his business, just supporting his brother maybe. But Lorcan Tucker is ready to enter the fray.
Yeah,
Flighted up.
Does well, next recover, Andy McBride.
Yeah, Lorcan Tucker, as you mentioned, ready for quite a while.
Yeah.
Ready and waiting.
Manages to go inside out to get himself off the mark, but a good comeback over from Miller. Just the 8 from it. The big wicket of Harry Tector as well, and after 13 Leinster Lightning. A slight little wobble, 136 for 3. My thanks to Dave Surratt. He has more work to do. Go back to the day job for him. Back to the day job for the moment anyway. Ali McCalmont, for you.
Yep, back on here. So, Leinster Lightning going pretty well there while I was away, but just that little wicket. Getting Harry Tector. Heard you talking there. Great catch from Jake Egan. Not getting too close to the ball. Looks a bit difficult at the end as he's taking a dive forward, but nice clean catch from Egan. Tucker in the joint. Tim Tector. So 7 to go. Nice 62 wanted off 41, so seemed to be comfortable for the Lightning. But again, we've talked about it quite a lot. They haven't really been in this position where they're not coasting to victory. Still got to get the runs.
Yeah, they're not thinking about over number 16. I'll tell you that much for free.
Definitely not today. But while Tim Tector is in there, 66 off 36, serenely going about his progress. Ball again.
Yeah, and that's what you get when you take wickets. A new man in, just trying to feel his way. Lorcan Tucker, he's been ready for a while. You can just squeeze out a few dots. Andy McBride bowling his final over. He's trying to see, can he maybe sneak another wicket before he's done for the day.
You maybe think he could sneak another over if he could. We get a 5th and a 6th from McBride again. 2 for 22 so far. Push for 2 here. Cameron Milley comes in, but Good stuff again from Tector. Been out from the start, but still got that energy. Yeah, just being out there and sort of in the crowd, as it were, just listening to the ball hit the bat off. Tim Tector, he really has been hitting the ball. Just the sound of the bat sounds different to most we've seen.
Yeah, well, I mean, he passed that milestone while you were on your break. 1,000 runs in the IP20, and Andy McBride broke the 50 wicket mark. So you've missed a lot. 2 for 24
I've only
in
been
his
here for 11 days.
I know. The injustice, 14 gone. Leinster Lightning 141 for 3. 6 bowlers used so far. Graham Hume a little bit toothless at the start, and Ryan Macbeth very toothless, unfortunately for him. It wasn't the greatest start from those two seamers, but McBride immaculate, 2 for 24. He's bowled out, so it's going to be up to others to continue to take wickets. Miller, the other one who's been successful, so he'll continue with his third.
Yeah, and again, it's the heartbeat of this team. 50 plus matches as captain. You can hear him out there, McBride, Donnamana accent, Northwest, and really encouraging his troops despite being, you'd probably say, a little bit behind the game here. Still encouraging his players.
Yeah, only a little bit behind the game though.
Yeah,
it's not,
a million miles.
A million miles. This is the key here, Tim Tector against Robbie Miller. He's going to continue to attack the leg spinner. He's hit that really late and whipped the hands through. Cameron Melly does well, covers the ground and keeps it to 2.
Yeah, really good work again from Melly. Not had the greatest tournaments with a bat, but certainly been good out there.
And he's toiled away, hasn't he?
Certainly
he's
has.
He's to do an awful lot of fielding.
A lot of work.
Well, ball just in at the pad. Tim Tector, for once, looking a little bit off balance actually. Kind of just didn't move the feet, had to clip it into the leg side.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, as I say. Warm out there today, out in the sun.
Right up in the block hole from Robbie Miller, and does well to chase the ball down as well.
Yeah, brave stuff from Miller. Got hit downtown, a couple of overs back, but still has the bravery to throw it up there.
Dance down from Lorcan Tucker, and does enough. Not the most sweetly timed shot that you'll ever see from Lorcan Tucker, but enough to go for 6.
That just shows you how difficult it is, because he's probably bowling that onto a length where he stays at home. It's probably a decent ball, but just a couple of skips down the wicket makes it into that half volley type length, and it's a clean hit. Wasn't the cleanest, as you say, but good enough on it. That's the difficulty for spinners.
Good again in extra cover. Well, I hope there's not an injury here from Andy McBride. They're going to come back for a second. He doesn't chase it down. No. Gets up and just walks off. So 12 from that over. Good one from Leinster Lightning point of view. 5 overs left and 153 for 3. They require just 46 from the last 5.
Yeah, just probably annoyed more than anything. Andy McBride at that just got out of his grasp. He's fielded quite a few there at cover. They've been pinging it at him. I keep going with Scott Macbeth here. From this the 16th. Yeah, run rate.
Yeah, this is a big over. I think this is the over they need to get a wicket, Northwest Warriors. And Tim Tector starts it off with an elegant 6 over extra cover. There's not many that can play that shot like that. It's 4. In fact, it's just faded away to the longer boundary. If you'd got it a bit straighter, it would have easily made the distance. There it is, that back heel, just creating the angle again.
He's just able to pick options at the minute. Tim Tector's the worry exactly he wants to hit the ball. He's manoeuvring his hands in the bat.
And he's got that one back at his point, so he's going to get another 4. So he didn't get the 6, but he's got back-to-back boundaries, 8 from the first 2. They said this is the over. Maybe it's the over that Tim Tector puts the game to bed as a contest.
Just going through the repertoire now. Foolish ball on the first one, he hits over cover. That one he just lets it come on a little bit. Able to get enough power to work it behind square. Around the wicket now to try and cramp him up.
Not a bad option at all.
Does the
Just
job.
Floated it up, good brave bowling. And this is the end. They have to try and find a way to get Lorcan Tucker out, because he's the man who's not been in for as long. 12 from 9, still going along pretty well. That's 6 helping things. Looks to get another one. It's not often that you're thinking, right, I'd rather bowl at Lorcan Tucker as a spinner than the guy at the other end, is it?
That's definitely the case at the minute.
Round the wicket again for Tector. Calls of 2, but I think they'll have to settle for 1, barring any mishaps. So after the first 2 balls going for boundaries, it's been a fight back from Scott Macbeth.
Yeah, but I think you're right. They needed a breakthrough. Can they get it off this last ball?
It looks like
it's in the air.
High up. Who's coming underneath it? Who wants it? It doesn't quite get there. Graham Hume, valiant effort, but it just was one of those that fell between 3. Hard to know who would have been best placed to go for that catch. Maybe long off.
Yeah, it just kept going away from Graham Hume. Don't think that Andy McBride would have got there, been tight. Obviously coming onto the ball a little bit easier if he could have got there, but I suppose if you call it and you're not sure.
I think the reason why Graham Hume went is because he was side onto the ball. He could see where it was going to land. Andy McBride, one of the problems when you're in that position is you can't see the trajectory. 165 for 3 with 4 overs to go, and it's really Leinster Lightning's to lose here. Graham Hume comes back, and needs a huge effort from the big former South African, now Irishman.
Yeah, he's got to come up with something here to get his team back in it here, you would think.
Then he ran 1 on that drop catch. Oh, it's almost found the fielder in Andy McBride. I think he's a little bit surprised by that. Again, a little bit of frustration. Things not quite going to plan for the Northwest Warriors. Either of those catches could have so easily found the fielder, but Lorcan Tucker's still out in the middle, riding his luck.
Yeah, just need a break now, just to give him that a little bit of an opening. We said the last 4 overs, it's right about 8s here, but here at Pembroke.
Slower delivery from Hume. A rare miss-hit from Tim Tector, if you can call it that. Didn't ping off the bat as we're so used to seeing.
Yep.
32 required. He needs just 18 to go to 3 figures. And chipped over, but square enough that goes straight to the fielder. So good comeback this from Hume. Quiet over here.
Yeah,
just take it as deep as possible.
Just 3 singles might just entice a false shot maybe. Haven't seen many false shots with dot balls from Tector. 82 from just 45 deliveries. So he scores at a really good clip.
He's decided to get going again. Sit right into the corner, but he does manage to get the distance. 6 runs. And Graham Hume just not able to follow Tim Tector on that occasion. He moves to 88.
Well, just almost too easy for Tector here. He just takes a step across the off. Let him get closer to the ball. Read the wide Yorker attempt. With the miss of length then, he's able to get under it. Manages to hit it all the way. Not content with just hitting it through the cover area. Goes all the way. Again goes to off.
Outrageous.
It's just...
It's like a paddle sweep off the seamer.
It really is. Terrific stuff.
Tim Tector, if there's ever a shot that you've been wanting to try, now's the time. Because it's all coming off for the Pembroke man today. He moves to within a couple of hits of his 3 figures. Are you looking up a stat there?
Yeah, he's gone to his highest score now. Just have it written down, 91, just trying to find out when it was. Against the Knights, 2023.
And he'll be looking to go one better and get his first century in the IP20 trophy. Graham Hume battling to get out of the over now. And that's sliced away between 2 fielders in the deep. They won't be able to cut it off. It's just perfect from Tim Tector. 96 for him as Graham Hume. He won't want the ball back in his hand anytime soon. He goes 6-4-4 to close out what had looked like a good over at the beginning.
Yeah, 3 singles to start the over, and we thought maybe that would entice a different shot, but he's almost got the ball on a string here at the moment. You know, we say when footballers are got it tied to their boot, he's almost got it tied to that bat. He knows exactly where the ball's going at the minute. Pinpoint accuracy there to get it between. There's 2 fielders, not maybe 15 yards between them.
A bit more than that, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, they're walking away.
You looked at the wrong time.
I
182 for 317 to win from 18, and that good over for Leinster Lightning has meant that they now need less than 1 a ball. Ryan Macbeth handed the ball now, and it's a mammoth task. The good news for him, he's bowling to Lorcan Tucker, who's just slightly less in touch, you'd say, than Tim Tector. Well, he looked to hit the boundary or just get the informed man on strike.
Yeah, White takes it down to 16.
It's been such a well-paced innings from Leinster Lightning, and it's not in their customary 16th over, but it looks like they're going to get over the line with plenty of time to spare as they continue winning ways. And both the northern teams losing today, so nobody pushing up into that second spot. Munster Reds thinking maybe they can put some pressure on. Don't think they can overtake the Northern Knights, but they, what are they? Are they close to overtaking the Northwest Warriors, or just?
Don't think so. I think it's an extra match behind. Yeah, if the Northwest Warriors are going to take anything from the game, they've performed well in the first team not to lose to the Lightning with a bonus point in the whole tournament. So far, now. Tector on 96. I'll do it in ones, he says. Never mind that.
I don't think
build
he
up.
meant to. I think he wanted to hit that over
Yeah.
the bowler's head for 4. Didn't quite get underneath it. Lorcan Tucker, don't hit too many.
No.
It's just the kind of thing to happen that
Yeah, I think he'll know.
you watch from the other end and see the runs ticking down. Yeah, that's definitely just taking the 1.
Yeah, just setting up there to knock that down the ground. 3 balls left in this. Macbeth over. There's a decent crowd in here now to see this on a late evening. Can Tector get to 3 figures with this one? Or is he content to knock it around? So he'll be looking for the boundary. Well
Straight
bowled.
to extra cover, great bowling, right up in the block hole. Andy McBride keeping Lorcan Tucker in.
Just chasing in there to make
Honest.
sure he comes back into his crease.
Great to see a little bit of niggle in these games, even though Leinster Lightning have won it. There's a bit of pride on the line. Dances down, and that's 100 for Tim Tector. Full toss helped on its way. You couldn't have asked for better for Tim Tector as he gets his first century in the IP20 trophy, and a proud captain at the other end in front of his home crowd as well, and Pembroke makes his highest score and all but hands victory to his team. 12 fours, 3 sixes in what's been a largely faultless knock. Others have given chances, not him. Nearly 200 strike rate. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, I certainly have been waxing lyrical about Tector for the last couple of years in this tournament. That's as good as we've seen, really. Especially given the circumstances. A big total to chase. Opening the baton.
Has he given it away? 100 and out.
Yes,
Good
he's caught
catch
it.
sideways there in the deep. Brilliant stuff. I think it's Robbie Miller.
Yep.
That's one of the more difficult ones, but that's the first time he's given a chance all day, and it's taken Northwest Warriors. Nice moment there. Andy McBrien says, well batted. Class sees class. Tector, well, I've just talked about his stats, but 12 fours, 3 sixes in that 101 from just 51 balls. 52, of course, with that one that took the wicket.
Yeah, wide of off from Macbeth. Just sliced a little bit from Tector, but that's a really good catch on the boundary from Robbie Miller. Talked about Jake Egan not getting too close to it. Didn't have a choice there. Robbie Miller had to really move to his left, but what an innings from Tim Tector. Just taking his equipment off. I'm sure he's pretty warm underneath all that padding. But as I say, just the circumstances of the game today. We talked about the Lightning haven't really had to chase a big total. You got to go out there, and he's made it look comparatively easy, and that's the skill of it. 101.
They've chased a lot of low totals, and they've kind of bullied teams that chasing down those totals, doing it with bonus points. But today it's been another story. Graham Hume bowls his fourth, swatted by Lorcan Tucker. George Dockrell, the new man out. He's been watching with interest, I'm sure, from the sideline. He's been sent in at the end. Has the power to do it in 2 balls. George Dockrell, so good. Straight down the ground in particular. They're going to bring the fielders up, though. They're searching for another wicket. Why not?
Yeah, why not indeed? And Dockrell on strike, but we talked earlier on, Isabel, about what would be perfect now would be an international series coming after this. Quite a conversation at the moment about Tim Tector after this night, this tournament.
Let's just quickly tell our viewers about the field here. It's a very interesting one. He's got bowlers long stop, cover out, point out, fine leg, square, mid wicket. Goes the full toss. That's not what was required.
Yeah.
George Dockrell in, and 6 off the first ball. Went for the Yorker, Graham Hume, the double bluff, and it didn't come off.
George Dockrell first ball. I think I'll have a full toss, please. Just angling in. Down on leg stump. Yeah, I think he could place that ball for George Dockrell. That's exactly where he would put it. 6 off 1. Meaning just 2 runs now to win for the Leinster Lightning. Go straight to that man. There we go.
Oh, well, Lorcan Tucker's decided not to run, which is an interesting choice.
George Dockrell was 10, 12 yards down the wicket there.
Yeah, in fact, I said there was a fine leg. There's not. So David O'Sullivan's kind of in a bit of a fly bowler's long stop there. So kind of halfway between the circle and the boundary rope, which is an interesting choice. So square mid-wicket, point and cover the men out.
Yeah, it was a pretty long single there. Could be a wide. It could be a wide.
No. Graham Hume. Yeah, have a long think about that. And Andy McBrien's head in his hat. Can't quite believe it. It's like, no. That's a little bit village from Graham Hume to be giving away one of the last 2 runs they have to play with a wide. Surely you got to bring the fielders in, no? Nope, says Graham Hume. Takes that off the badge pretty much. George Dockrell, it'll go for 4. They haven't completed the run, so interesting to see if that is given, and we've got a 200 plus score.
Come on, scorers. What are we going to put down here?
What are we having? There's no signal from Johnny Kennedy, so I think that means it's the single.
Yeah.
199 required for victory, done easily with 8 balls to spare by the Leinster Lightning. It's been an impressive run chase, because in the first innings it was impressive, was given as a 4. Very good. So they finish up on 202 with 8 deliveries remaining, just 4 wickets down, and Tim Tector, I was going to say faultless, he obviously got out right at the end, so the only mistake being that he didn't take his team over the line. It was George Dockrell who did.
Yeah, just pulled to that boundary. The only matter was whether fielder could keep it down to 1. Couldn't, and Dockrell picks up 6 and 4 and takes his team home. But all foundations laid by Tector and DeFreitas, but especially Tim Tector with his maiden T20 interprovincial 100 here at Pembroke. Fantastic performance from him. But look, the Leinster Lightning, we've asked them another question today. Can they chase a bigger total? There's your answer. They certainly can.
Well, the Northwest Warriors will be pleased with how they batted their bowling. Maybe thinking to do ahead of the final game tomorrow. There's 2 matches, of course. Leinster Lightning led by Tim Tector there at the front. Some of the bowlers were taken down in the first innings for the Leinster Lightning. Northwest Warriors they'll be pleased with lots of things in the performance today. They won't be pleased not to get the win. And the batting at the top for the Warriors very good, topping 55 from 36, and Balbirnie was brilliant, 80 from 51. He couldn't quite get through for the 3 figures like we saw from Tim Tector, and then Egan and Melly finished strong, 37 and 18, with just 34 balls between them, and we thought 198 was going to be pretty tough going to chase down. They would have been confident.
Yeah, new template for the Warriors there. Just the 3 partnerships, 2 wickets lost in an entire 20 overs. 93 for the opening partnership between Topping and Balbirnie. Really well backed up. Balbirnie and Egan continued on, and then Egan and Melly with that little assault at the end for 42.
And lots of bowlers going around the ground, in particular some of the seamers. Dockrell's 3rd over meant that he was expensive, but Hollard the most expensive, 18 from, or 36 from his 2 overs, but he did get the wicket. Little with the other wicket taker, 1 for 36 from his 4. Best bowler though, Harry Tector, just bowled the 2 overs, 0 for 13, and I thought Little was threatening when he coming back in.
So 198 set for the Lightning. Longer chase for them today. But those 2 yet again with a half-century partnership again, Tector and DeFreitas. DeFreitas went to his half-century off just 26 balls in total for 56. McBride with the breakthrough. He sent out Seamus Lynch at 3. Hasn't done much batting. Didn't really work out for him with 7. Then Harry Tector went with 5. But Tucker and Dockrell got them over the line in the end. But it's all about that man at the top, Tim Tector, with his maiden T20
Yeah, great start once more. That partnership of 86 really setting things up and at a good rate as well. And DeFreitas unusually the bigger scorer in that, 56 out of the 86. Once he went, it was Tim Tector all the way down the left until he just couldn't see it over the line. He combined with Tucker for 55 for the 4th wicket, and once he went, George Dockrell finished things off with a 6 and a 4.
Warriors bowling. 198. Thought they were in a real shout, but Hume just a little bit off today. The early spells didn't look threatening. Macbeth again, no swing on offer. Did pick up the wicket of Tector in the end, but 87 coming from those 6.4 of the opening bowlers. O'Sullivan again, double figures for him, Macbeth and Miller. And once again, we've said it constantly over this tournament, Andy McBride, the standout bowler for the Warriors. Look at his economy rate, just 6, plus a couple of wickets, 2 for 24 for the skipper.
So a couple of milestones passed in this game that Leinster Lightning dominated. Once again, McBride first man to 50 wickets in the competition, and Tim Tector going to 1,000 runs, but he went well above with that 101 in the chase of 198. Leinster Lightning winning once more by 6 wickets. So that concludes our second day's play here in Pembroke. We've got one more day of Interpro T20 Festival cricket for you tomorrow. Let's see if the Leinster Lightning can continue on their winning ways, or can someone topple them. Make sure you join us tomorrow morning for the last of the IP20 Festival cricket. Reds versus Warriors first up, and then the Lightning taking on the Knights. We'll be on just before 10:45 in the morning, We hope you enjoyed the coverage this morning and this afternoon from myself, Isabel Joyce, from Ali McCallum, and from everyone here at MWX and Cricket Ireland. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again very soon. But for now, it's good night.